I know that this movie has literally a song called the Austin Powers theme song, but if I were to pick the James Bond type song out of this movie, it is Quincy Jones' Soul Boss.
Oh yeah.
It's just so good.
It's so iconic.
And even like when the way they use it in this movie, Austin Powers, I thought really effective. Really enjoyed it. But yeah, all right. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Double O Deep Dive, Pop Culture's Pros home for everything 007 James Bond and at this point spy related stuff. You know, we decided we're getting into the Avengers. We're going deep into things soon.
There's a cat suit involved. We're in it. Oh, a zip up cat suit, like, you know.
You need a zip-up cat suit. And that's, you know, this movie has a zip-up cat suit. So kudos to you, Austin Powers. But thank you for joining us, whether you're joining us live on the Facebook, whether you're joining us Memorex. It's still a joke no one gets, but I love it. On wherever you get your podcast, wherever you download your podcast. I know we're on Apple, we're on iTunes. I think we're on, I don't know, we on Stitcher? Maybe I'm making that up. I don't know. Maybe we should get on Stitcher. That's how I got into podcast. Someone told me to download Stitcher. I did. Done.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I have Stitcher. Oh, that's so dumb. Never ignore me. I have a subscription. I was like, what app is Stitcher? What streaming service?
But yeah, I'm your host, as always, Jason, or my name today, because I wanted to create an Austin Powers type henchman name, Oddball McClure.
That's a henchman name, I assume?
It's an Austin Powers henchman name. Because I don't think this wouldn't even pass in the Roger Moore era.
No.
But in the Austin Powers, like, and I'm not talking about first Austin Powers, I'm talking like Austin Powers 4, you know, Austin Powers, The Search for More Money.
Oh, The Search for Relevancy.
The Search for Relevancy, yes.
For Mike Myers.
Austin Powers 4, The Redemption of Mike Myers.
The Redemption of Mike Myers.
And with me as always, my co-host, my partner in crime, the Bond girl to my Bond villain, Ginny, how are you?
I'm good. Crazy week, but watching Austin Powers has been a treat. It's a wonderful little throwback.
I'm glad you like this, and I'm excited to talk to you about it today. But before I do, Ginny, something important. It's your birthday. I wanted to wish you on air happy birthday.
Thanks so much. It was a chill day. It was rainy, but again, I went to the movies by myself, which is wonderful.
Which was awesome.
Had sushi, drinking a glass of rosé because it's summer, and yeah, loving life, loving playing with my children. Perfect day.
Fantastic. I'm happy to hear that. That you had a great day. All right. So again, thanks for joining us. I actually see a comment, and I'm going to say, JRP Gaming, you are correct when you guessed the exact moment I gave up on Austin Powers Goldmember. It was, in fact, when Goldmember himself came out and uttered the famous catchphrase, I love gold. That was exactly the moment I gave up. So thank you for chiming in with that. Because that was a low point in that. But Ginny, can you? I actually realized I messed up something here on the Facebook that I'm trying to do because goddamn, where's my Q branch, Eddie? Where's my Q branch?
Come back.
I just promoted Eddie's show for the Yankees under ours because I clicked the wrong thing. So Ginny, can I ask you to vamp for maybe just
absolutely
2 minutes while I fix this?
Well, I had to go back and really think about all the Roger Moore movies that we've watched, and I was not going to rewatch all of them again, but I am excited. I also am very, I'm happy that we're talking about Roger Moore, and I have a new appreciation for Roger Moore. I think kind of reviewing all of our movies, because I don't know. I think I took him for granted a little bit, and I haven't seen. I used to marathon these movies, especially the Sean Connery and Roger Moore movies during the month of July on Spike TV during their Spy in July marathons. If everyone
Yeah, I remember
remembers,
that.
which is
I remember that.
coming up to July, so I'm excited to start the Sean Connery movies, which are perfect July watching. And yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of my, I think I had strong opinions on Roger Moore movies, much, again, from years ago, sort of my own preconceived notions, or sort of what I kind of, formed later or before rewatching them again. And I don't know, maybe just musing on them, talking with you guys. I think I have, I don't know. I think my orders are going to be a little staggered, weird. I'm going to have interesting views now.
I have to admit that I'm with you. Like I've always been upfront. Roger Moore is not a guy I never really loved his era of James Bond. I didn't really have an appreciation for it outside of The Spy Who Loved Me, which I think I said up top is like top 3 James Bond of all time for me. But yeah, watching this with you and our guests and Ed, I kind of do like. I only hate Moonraker at this point. I thought I hated a lot more of his run, and I'm kind of like, I love 2 of them. I think some of them are fine, and I hate one of them.
I'm curious because I don't know. I mean, I wonder if I'm going to feel the same way with some Sean Connery movies that I sort of almost are like have no opinion, or I kind of don't care about them, or I'll have like they're forgettable. So I think there are some. I don't know if I would say hate, because I love a good cheese fest. I like tropes. I do like tropes. I do like stereotypes, but tropes, tropes in movies, stereotypes.
Yeah, right.
But
motifs, if you will.
Themes. and I think Roger Moore's era. I was protesting too much. I think I do. There is a lot that I realize and I appreciate and like. So I don't know if I can hate any of these movies entirely. Like loathe.
Yeah, no, I get that. And for me, again, it's it's Moonraker. What am I high? I'm not burying the lead here. I think Moonraker. I think it was nice. I was nice-ish about Moonraker because John Rice was on here defending it, and he made some really good points. They went, I don't agree with you, but I'll stop being nasty to it.
Right. Truce.
Yeah, but I'm with you. Like, I think other than that, I think the biggest crime I could level against any one of these movies that isn't Moonraker is it's just kind of forgettable. And I mean, look, when you make 7 James Bond movies, I mean, and 2 or 3 of them are incredibly memorable. One maybe for the wrong reasons, but Barrett, let's stop beating around the bush. Let's get into it. You wanna just go right into your list of the Moore era movies in list of preference?
Yeah, just that. I think that, like, going back to especially my Daniel Craig's, my list can be pretty contentious there of what what is a top Bond movie for me. It's all personal. It's all like, I would rather rewatch these movies again, and quality is always taken into consideration. And and if they're not everyone else's favorite, sometimes they're just mine, and they're going to top a list.
Yeah,
so
no, for sure. And look, my third is going to be fucking outright offensive to most people.
I wonder. I'm curious because mine, I say, and this is a hodgepodge of my past, my childhood. Currently, what holds up to me, what I would love to rewatch again, is Man with the Golden Gun is my number one.
Wow,
Roger Moore movies.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I could see it.
I know people.
It's a real fun movie.
I think it's a little like I just like the adventure. I like the setting. I like the henchman. I just think there are a lot of vibes. My number 2 is Spy Who Loved Me.
Of course.
Because I think that you don't get more quality than that. And there's a lot to love. View to a Kill is my third, and I had never seen View to a Kill until this podcast. So you talk about craziness.
Ginny, you surprised me. I didn't realize you put it so high on the list.
Because I would rewatch that again, and it's so crazy. It's consistently a little. It's all consistent.
Ginny, if you called me up tomorrow and said, I want to watch A View to a Kill tonight, Tom and I are gonna watch it, you want to come over? I'd be like, yeah, I'll bring some booze and popcorn. We just watched that for this show 3 weeks ago.
I'll rewatch it again. Oh yeah. Oh man. And then my 4th is Live and Let Die. And I think I was always like, there's a sort of a tie, or there's like a connection between Man with the Golden Gun and View to a Kill. They're both not
Mhm.
the best, but there's something memorable about them. There's something that like I have vivid I don't, not attachments to, but just I just clearly remember rewatching a lot of them, and sort of having them on and just enjoying that. So yeah, I think that's the fun. And like I don't know, maybe that's more emotional though to me, just like because
Right,
rewatching it, I
right.
was like, there's a lot of issues with Live and Let Die that I never
Oh,
remembered.
it's a very problematic movie looked at in today's lens.
Oh yeah, so it's got to fall on. It had to be. I was like, of course it's gonna be low, much lower. Then you're not gonna like this. Is Moonraker is my sixth? Oh no, it's my fifth. What is it?
Wow.
Fifth. Yeah,
Wow,
I
you
think
put Moonraker over For Your Eyes
I
Only.
did. I did.
Wow. Okay.
Think. Yeah, I did because I think I at least Octopussy has memorable moments. I do think For Your Eyes Only is a better movie than Moonraker and Octopussy, but it's so forgettable to me. I
Oh yeah,
can't. I
yeah.
don't remember the villain. The villain's plot was the underwater, right?
For
For Your Eyes
this
Only.
For Your Eyes Only, it was
He just
the
doing
Greek.
this same
He was
thing
a
as
Greek guy,
yeah.
and there was some Greek stuff going. Like again, I told you that movie is the James Bond Hypnol for me. I mean, I wake up and I go, I just watched James Bond. What the hell just happened?
Well, and it comes after. It's before Moonraker, right? No,
No, I think
after.
it's the one directly after, because Moonraker went so over the top that remember we talked about this one
Yes.
could have been a Timothy Dalton movie. It was
Yeah,
so
yeah,
serious.
yeah, yeah. And it's and he just took. I think that's the problem with the issue is that the For Your Eyes Only took the plot of Moonraker and was like, we're doing it underwater, and it's realistic. It's much more realistic this time around. We swear. And I'm like, you just can't rip off the plot of Moonraker. Moonraker was going for it. And I think I like that Bond girl. Like it's all very like normal. Like he's not offensive overtly in it. I don't think he is. And
No, I think we had said that was like the nicest James Bond at the
yeah,
moment.
yeah, and maybe
Like,
that's just not memorable to me, or maybe that's
yeah,
like it's too subdued. Gorgeous Grease though is gorgeous. It's a beautiful
yes.
like setting. That's like a Daniel Craig movie in terms of visual like setting. And then my so for Moonraker, For Your Eyes Only, because it is forgettable to me. I don't know if I'd wholly want to watch it again. And Octopussy, I have a lot of, I think I just have a lot of issues with Octopussy, even after watching it, even after hearing like all of the good that's a part of that movie. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And Eric really made a good
he
point of the
did.
like. I had to admit that like Octopussy was on my hated more movies, and after rewatching it, I was kind of softening it up. But listening to Eric talk about it, I was like, all right. I was just being too hard on this poor old guy trying to be James Bond.
I was focusing on stupid things like the clowns, like too many clowns in a James
and
Bond movie, and he
and
was
you're
bringing
not
up
wrong.
solid points,
Yeah.
to rebuke that. But I think that's a solid list. And now they're all very. I don't think I could actually. I don't know. There's some. If you I don't know if you told me like plots of Moonraker and parts of For Your Eyes Only, like could you pick up a
Well,
scene totally and decide I don't know and tell me which movie this is from, I might not be able
well,
to do. I don't
I
know to do
I
it.
know. I mean, I know that Moonraker is very similar to The Spy Who Loved Me. I
Hmm.
think you have forgotten For Your Eyes Only so much you're confusing it with parts of The Spy Who Loved Me.
They're okay. They're similar. I think For Your Eyes
Yeah,
Only and The Spy Who Loved Me give me very similar vibes.
but I think that also goes to say with how just blah For Your Eyes Only is, because like I like, and again I'm with you. I remember it's in Greece. I remember doing some Greek shit. I remember that the villain's name was Aristotle Christolatos, but only because I looked it up and wrote it down this afternoon when I was making this
It
list.
just rolls off your tongue, though, you know.
Right, exactly. It's like you've Scaramanga, Max Zorin, Mr. Big, Aristotle Christolatos. Not to make fun of his name. It just isn't like. I mean, my last name is Fish Dick. I mean, I'm in no. I can't make fun of anything, but I'm in no position, right? I wouldn't have a good James. I would change my name if I were a James Bond villain, but it just doesn't roll off the tongue, and I think it just adds to how unmemorable that movie is.
Yeah, I think that's just where that's how they fall. But I again, the
Yeah.
appreciation is true. I is I mean, I look forward to doing something similar with the Sean Connery movies, but I'm happy we got a chance to really sit down and kind of, really break them down, because I think I needed
Yeah,
that, and
me
I think
too.
going forward, it'll be much more enjoyable for me.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see where we put these movies in the overall list
Mm,
when we do when we finish all of
yeah,
these movies.
yeah.
Because I think, like, I used to say The Spy Who Loved Me is in my top 3 James Bond movies, still is. So that's going to be my number 1. But like, I used to think the rest of these were way, way down low, and I think I really have to reevaluate that.
Yeah, it's going to be some soul searching
Yeah.
with all these movies.
But John Rice, good friend of the show here on Moonraker, agrees that Man with the Golden Gun and The Spy Who Loved Me are quality movies. He says we need some more love.
Uh,
John, you've made a good joke here, John. Sorry, I watched 2.5 Austin Powers movies, and I think having the name Fishetic would be a great Bond villain
I think
origin
so
story.
too.
Thank you, John. It could have been. Look, if my life had gone just a tinge differently, I'd be sitting on a lava mountain, stroking a cat, trying to murder everyone. Call me Fishstick, will you? Release the Kraken, because as a Bond villain, I would train a Kraken. I'm that kind of. I have that kind of determination. I would take the time, put the time in to train a Kraken.
It's like a mythological creature.
Yeah. Look, you just gotta find. They're real. It's just we gotta find one of those like deep sea squids that no one's ever seen in real life, but they exist. We've seen their bodies. Is it so much to ask to have a freaking Kraken on hand?
Honestly.
Honestly. Oh, yeah, honestly. Does that Kraken make you horny, baby? Yeah. All right. All right. Let's before I gotta stop myself.
Shift out of Austin Powers mode.
All right. All right, so here's my list, and actually, honestly, Ginny, it's not far off from yours. So, Spy Who Loved Me is my number 1 because I do think it is like a perfect James Bond movie. Like it hits all these beats. Like the only place I ding that movie is I think it has a weak villain.
Yeah, agreed.
And not because his plan isn't cool. It's just he's just not really there. I just But other than that, I think it's like a perfect Bond movie. I love that we have the Triple X, who's like his equal. It introduces Gogolak, or whatever the guy's name is, the Russian general, who we actually continue to see throughout the rest of the Roger Moore run.
I love seeing his character again. Yeah, I like that reoccurring character.
That reoccurring character. But neither of us really care for the reoccurring character in my second one, The Man with the Golden Gun, which is J.W. Culpepper.
Why, God, why?
I think that's the biggest like question mark I have for the entire Roger Moore run is why J.W. Culpepper? What was he there for?
We brought him back consecutively.
Right.
It wasn't like, maybe we need a little bit more comedy. That's a note for the studio. And the studio's like, well, let's bring back that racist carrot cop, People kind of got a kick out of that, right?
People liked him. It's great because he's going to be racist in another country, and then he's going to get locked up abroad and murdered.
Hilarious.
But yeah, so Man with the Golden Gun is my second. Then A View to a Kill, and I'm so glad that you're with me on that one, Ginny, because had you asked me before we did this run, that would have been my only above Moonraker, because let's be fair, it's a shitty movie.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not going to say A View to a Kill is a good movie, but when you got Chris Walken as Max Zorin, you got Grace Jones as Mayday, and you got James Bond actually doing spy shit, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it's so fun. I think it has energy, even though it's he's the oldest. I think it has a lot of energy.
I agree, and I think what makes it work more, even though he's older, is because I think they're cognizant of the fact that he's older, which is why he's doing more spy stuff.
Yeah.
Which is why he's not so lecherous, because he's not really lecherous in that movie.
No. Well,
and he gets lecherous in a lot of these movies.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I think that's why it works, because they kind of know his limitations and they write the movie to that, and they pad it with enough other crazy stuff Now, mind you, the movie makes no sense if you're actually paying attention to anything other than the fun James Bond's Max Oren stuff going on. But just look, go with it. It's fun.
Hey. Okay.
Then Live and Let Die.
Mm-hmm.
And then normally that would have been my third, because I actually really like Mr. Big in that.
Yeah,
I really like Yaphet Kotto was fantastic. But like that movie like ends like a cartoon where they blow his head up, and
I know. An undignified death for kind of a very dignified villain who's American.
Yeah,
I like that it's America. I like America. I like we bonds in America.
It's cool. And no, I do too. It's why I like Diamonds Are Forever as well, because I like seeing Bond in almost a fish out of water thing, you know. And there's some cool scenes in that when they go to the nightclub and they're lowered down, and the opening scene where everyone's dancing in the and they're carrying the coffin, and then they murder in the group. They murder the 00 and put him in the coffin. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's scary. Yeah.
So now we get to the tipping point for me. For Your Eyes Only is next, because I don't remember much of it, which means it couldn't possibly have insulted me as a James Bond fan. So, hey, I remember enjoying it somewhat. I couldn't tell you anything about it that I didn't look up today, but there you go. Then there's Octopussy, because too many clowns. The jugglers. It's just the circus thing is weird. I think it is a really, really bad villain, probably the worst villain of this run.
Yeah, hands down.
And then like his plan doesn't make any sense. And then like that movie might have been way higher if Maud Adams' Octopussy was just the villain.
Agreed. And that was my like Mandela effect working, where I thought she was. I don't know what happened.
And they kind of set her up like she could be, so it's like you saw it as a kid. You remember? Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. She's doing some shit with a cult. She's evil.
Nope.
But no, she's doing some shit with a cult, but she's good. But okay, but I also I really enjoy that movie has such a weird relationship with the source material too.
Oh like
it's kind of the sequel, the unofficial sequel to that weird short story that Ian Fleming wrote at the end of his career. And then finally we get to Moonraker, aka why does the fucking pigeon do a double take, Ginny? You haven't been able to explain this. John Rice couldn't explain it. Ed couldn't explain it. No one could explain to me why a fucking pigeon does a double take in that movie.
Really, really, really good point. Your Honor, hearsay, Your Honor.
Oh, well, all right then. All right, well, if Ginny says it's hearsay, even though I saw it with my own eyes, I'm going to go for a continuance. I don't even know what that means. I just got finished binging Night Court. I was just, $50 and a fine. Time served.
Oh, my God.
John's got something here. He's a really talented pigeon.
Yeah, he studied. He trained at Juilliard.
Look, John, I'm going to tell you something. If it wasn't obviously just we filmed a pigeon moving and then reversed it and let that go again, and they actually trained the goddamn pigeon, I'd give this to you. I would actually, if on this alone, if they trained that pigeon, I'd bump it over Octopussy, but they didn't. They were lazy, John.
Oh, man. That's it? Not the moon cult of Aryan race of moon people, Jason?
Like that, there's so much going on with that movie that I kind of picked the stupidest hill to die on, because that's what I do. But that movie's, I mean, come on. Oh, I'm Jaws. I'm a good guy now. Now I deserve a woman because I'm such a nice guy. Or we're in space and there are lasers. What does this have to do with the awesome book, which is hands down the best thing that Ian Fleming has ever written? We're gonna get rid of it so we can do a Star Wars ripoff. I mean, there's just so much wrong with that movie, and part of it is it's trying to pander to sci-fi culture. Once a movie starts to pander, you lose me. And even with A View to a Kill, I don't think it's not pandering. It's not a good movie, but it's not pandering, right? It just is what it is in its own weird thing. And Moonraker was just trying to be something the James Bond series doesn't or shouldn't be.
Doesn't need
to be.
Yeah.
And strangely enough, I'm going to make the same argument when we get to the Austin Powers trilogy.
So
right. I'm very happy I went on that tirade just now.
Gonna tie back later.
But yeah, so we're very, very similar on this.
Yeah, just shifted to, and it's very just, I don't know, preference in terms of hatred, and then preference in terms of what you genuinely like about,
And I think that's been, we've been very, very upfront with that's the point of this show, right? It's just, and that's again why I wanted to do this show with you specifically, because we have very similar and very different tastes, because I think we like a lot of the same stuff, but different things bring us there.
Yeah.
And so like I like the whole point was I wanted to get other perspectives on movies that I have been in my own head about for years. So yeah, I'm glad that we're doing this.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go through. What do you want to do next? Songs or villains?
Songs, because I can tie them to movies. I actually think I based maybe a little bit of my movie order in terms of the songs, because
really,
yeah, I think so.
So I'm going to start because mine are so starkly different.
Okay.
My number one is A View to a Kill. Because no matter how much I say I don't like Poppy in like the band of the Flavor of the Month band doing it, this View to a Kill is fucking awesome. I mean, Duran Duran is not a Flavor of the Month, right? but they're very 80s. Like, you're not picking up the new Duran Duran album. It's of its time, exactly. But what a fun song. Like, that makes me want to do Spy Stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then my number two is Moonraker.
Interesting. Okay.
Because that's a Shirley Bassey. I love all the Shirley Bassey stuff. And I actually just really like that song. Sometimes when I'm in a jazzy mood, I play that song. Then we got Live and Let Die, because I got to rep Paul McCartney. It's probably not the best song on this list, but Sir Paul McCartney of the Beatles performed it. Then we got Nobody Does It Better, which I think is actually an awesome song. I just don't think it's a great James Bond song. But I think it's a fantastic song.
That's fair.
Then I got Man with the Golden Gun, which I think is a lot of fun. It's just, but again, it's very poppy and 60s, and that's cool and all. But like I was trying to maintain a balance. And then For Your Eyes Only, which I do really like that. But it's just, and here's the thing. I don't dislike any song on this list. I just like Roger Moore's era really kills it in the song department.
I think it does.
But it's just compared to the others, it's not as exciting for me. And then All Time High, because I feel about it like I feel about the movie For Your Eyes Only. It's like, what's the song for Octopussy? All Time. Yeah, that was a really good song, but like I always forget that it's Octopussy. Like
I know.
I don't. You give me a movie Octopussy, give me a song called Octopussy, guys. Come on, the Octopussy grows. Yes, something.
I'm expecting. All right, main credits. Here we go. Octopussy. Sam Smith could have done a song for Octopussy,
or Radiohead.
Lest you give me a cover, a Radiohead cover or song of Octopus, like with the title. Okay, Radiohead, all the money, then your contract. We agree. The only thing is you just have to have Octopussy in the song in the chorus.
I would I would love to pop in, not live or spend much time in, but pop in the alternate dimension where that happens.
And there is one. There is one.
It's gotta be. If you just thought about it, which means it exists somewhere. But yeah, so that's my list. So Ginny, what's your list like?
So it's actually not that different. I thought about it. I had to think about it because I love 80s music, and I love like all of the Timothy Dalton song. Like there are those. I think until we get to the Sean Connery movie, I think that like look at my playlists, like Living Daylights, License to Kill, and like View to a Kill, or just like back to back replayed. And View to a Kill is so fun. I don't know, just and we dance into the fire.
Yeah.
That's like that wins it for me.
And that beginning of like that din,
yes,
din, din, din. Like, it's so sharp.
I
I
know.
mean,
I love an
oh,
action-packed James Bond song. That's
me
why I
too.
like Another Way to Die, because it's I get I like I love ballads are great and they win all the Oscars, but I like be bold. Give me an action-packed song.
I
Um,
agree.
so that's why. And then I nobody does it better. I don't know. I think there's something. My mom loves Carly Simon. I think that's like very of its time, but I think I love a female. It's appropriate. It's more of a like mature movie, romantic movie. I think that's just like very ideal. Live and Let Die is 3. It should be probably higher, but let's think about it. Let's all look at our lives and look at our choices and place where we want Live and Let Die on that list. Think about it. I certainly have. And 4th is Man with the Golden Gun, because I can this podcast brought me back to that, just like how to sing it. And For Your Eyes Only is my fifth choice. Moonraker is 7.
Wow.
I again always thought, same with Octopussy. I always kind of wanted them to just sing Moonraker and sing it like Goldfinger. Moonraker.
Moonraker. It's a movie you're about to watch.
And it's Shirley Bassey. So I think I had major Mandela effect. And I was like, I know that's not right, but we always used to sing it like that. And then Octopussy, because I can't sing it. I thought about it. I was going through like off the top of my head, like writing them down, just like kind of like going the melodies. And I had to like search for it because I was like, I don't all-time high. I was like, it's good. Oh, Sheena Easton. Okay, yeah. And I was like,
it's forgettable. It's just so forgettable.
Maybe I'll learn to love it. I'll fall back in love with it eventually, but
well, maybe you will find that all-time high. That's all I can give you. That's all I know.
Right.
Because like I listen to like I go through moods of music, and I have like the James Bond soundtrack, like with all these songs on it, right? And I think like I listen to most of them if it comes on. All Time High, I almost always skip. Oh. It's just like it's a fine song. It's not in the vein that I'm looking for with these songs. Like even with it's not even that it's slow, because like nobody does it better as slow, but it's a really interesting song. I just don't think it's an interesting song.
Yeah, interesting is I think the word for it. Sorry.
All right. So we'll jump into girls and we'll do our top five girls. Or I think we do one of two ways. We can, if you ranked it, we'll go through the ranking. If you want to do like top 5, or if you want to go highs and lows, I'll leave it up to you how you want to attack.
I actually, because there were a few, because I even count like almost like side Bond girls sometimes, if they're memorable enough for me, or if they're like they stand out to me. So I have girls that kind of just stood out to me. I have 3 that I really, I think just I looked at my choices, and I have 2 that I don't like, but I have 3 that I really do. So I'll sort of narrow it down that way. My top is XXX, and I would assume that might be yours too.
Of course it is. Like again, top 5 of all James Bond
time.
Movies.
Yeah.
I mean, she's really good.
And it's just, and there's so much there, and it's just the 2 of them. We really have time. They really sort of live together. They're really on this journey, and I mean, gosh, like they have to confront each other with the fact that she wants to kill him for her murdered lover, and they're equals, and she's gorgeous, and it's such a great, like, iconic role. We never got, as we talked about, precursors to future Bond girls, but I really dig her, and I was like, I think she just stood out to me when I first watched Bond movies, and she still stands out, which is great. My other choice, my other Bond girl, my second one is Mayday. I thought about it. I also thought about it. I looked at my choices. I looked at the Roger Moore era, and I thought, what do I like? And what do I think we kind of maybe made fun of? Like, even my husband was like, oh no, like Grace Jones. I always remember her. And I'm like, he's like, because she's so striking and just so like, I'm sure that's the way for like many a boy who, and I just think she was, I don't know, she was in love with her villain, her main bad, also was caught up with Bond, henchman, doing it all, assistant, looked great in everything she wore, fashion, like a pure model, that we have. And I think
Mhm.
she was like ahead of her time. And I love Grace Jones. I thought she's so wonderful. Like she steals the show. So Triple X is great, but she's also a little subdued. And Mayday is just like man, that movie also has like two of the most beautiful, like if you're just talking physically beautiful blonde girls. But Mayday is my number 2, and number 3 is Melina, even though For Your Eyes
Ooh.
Only isn't a great. I thought about it though, and I was like,
All
I
right.
think she's cool. I think we just needed to like, I don't know, maybe that actress could have been better, but she, writing standpoint, like she wants revenge. It's very Greek story. You know,
Yeah.
sort of an angry woman, and she has the arrow, which I think is really cool, the bow and arrow. Yeah, she's my third. So if you want to go, I don't know how you have yours, if you have top 5. Um,
So yeah, I have kind of like highs and lows. So like, I think my best was Triple X. That was my favorite. I don't think there's any surprise there. I'm with you on Grace Jones Mayday being my number 2.
Mm.
I actually thought, like, looking back on it, she definitely breaks way higher in my Bond girl list at the end of this, because
Yeah.
she is kind of like the proto Xenia Onatopp, which I gave
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
credit for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but she's fucking Grace Jones.
And she's Grace Jones, and she's a little bit more, I don't know, sensitive than Xenia, who's like a pure
I agree. Xenia is
psychopath.
pure. Yeah, she's a pure psychopath, and you get a sense at the end that, like, no, Mayday was kind of manipulated here. Like,
So
definitely
human.
not great intentions, but human. And she has the moment at the end where she has the moment of saving everyone and
Mm-hmm.
destroying the
Mm-hmm.
plan. And we didn't really talk about it last time, but I just realized we're talking about it. Like, this was a movie in the late 80s where a white man and a black woman were, like, not just sleeping together but in a relationship. And yes, they're the villains, but
Yeah.
nothing was made out of it. And
Mm-mm.
there was
Mm-mm.
also nothing made about, like, James Bond. Like, there was no, I don't remember there being quips of, like, oh, milk chocolate or something stupid.
No, no.
There was a lot of stuff like that in
They just
previous.
said she's been taking her vitamins because she's a sick, a supermodel
Right,
who's
right.
like who's a force of nature. Like it's but that's all, and that is, I think it's a little, yeah,
Yeah,
progressive.
so I think, look, yeah, it was the late 80s in a James Bond movie. You take the progressiveness where you can get it, and I think it's a little bit there, but she's also really awesome, and
Mhm.
so I like her.
Knockout.
I thought Melina Havelock was interesting as much as anything is in that movie, and I remember thinking that she looked like a real person as a Bond girl, which
Yeah.
I really liked.
Mhm.
Um, and then what else? Like, Octopussy was fine. I think I hold it against Octopussy that she's not the villain. And, like, the hell is she doing in this movie, really? Like, she doesn't really need to be there, and the movie's
Mm-mm.
called Octopussy. Um Interesting that Jane Seymour played Solitaire. I just, not that I particularly loved her, but I just think it's interesting in the Bond history that Jane Seymour played a Bond girl.
One of our famous Bond, like more famous Bond girls,
Like,
or successful post
yeah,
Bond.
right. Exactly. And then I think the bottom of the barrel is Mary Goodnight, which was
Yeah.
just like, I actually, in my head, I always conflate Mary Goodnight and Dr. Goodhead, and I always think
Really.
Dr. Goodhead is like the shitty, but actually Dr. Goodhead is,
Uh,
despite the terrible name, is a good Bond girl.
is a doctor, and she's a doctor.
Yes,
Mary Goodnight's in a bikini 24/7. I
and,
will.
like, so dumb,
So dumb. But you
like,
know what though?
sexistly dumb. But go ahead.
And very sex, and now, but if you had talked to me as a 13-year-old, me and my twin sister, going, "Ooh, who's your favorite Bond girl?" And we'd probably give you, like, like Halle Berry. We probably would have said,
Right.
Xenia, and we also would have said Mary Goodnight, because we're like, she's so funny, isn't she silly? She's just falling out of stuff, and like she's blonde and looks like Britt Eklund. And now in hindsight, you're like, she's literally the worst,
She's
and literally
literally,
setting our, we're all getting set back here, ever men, women.
like, I might say, and this is a bold statement, but we've gone through enough of these movies where I think I can say this pretty fairly.
Oh yeah,
She might be my least favorite Bond girl of all
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Like she's offensive.
Oh, yeah, but you know who's even more offensive, just a little bit, and just weirder than Mary Goodnight is, that's stereotype. That's what people expect in a Bond movie, like a ditzy blonde
Right.
girl. But you know who's weird? BB Doll. Remember BB Doll?
Oh God, BB
Doll,
Doll was terrible.
who was
Yeah, Bibidahl.
like, and she's, how old is she? 16, 17, 18?
I think she's
Jail
supposed to
date?
be
18.
18 because that's the only way that she could legally try to fuck James Bond in this movie. But they're definitely having her portray this character like she's a bubbly 16-year-old.
Oh yeah, I feel like she's in pigtails and like
Yeah.
bouncing on it, doing gymnastics, and she's a figure skater. I'm like, I don't like any of this. I
No,
don't
and
approve.
Bond was looking like long in the tooth at that point. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I think what is it? The Moonraker is probably the last one where you're like, all right, yeah, he looks like James Bond. After that, he's really looking old. So to watch him with someone who's a 16-year-old girl, it was like, which I think is why I shouldn't even make my list because I like to pretend she doesn't exist.
Exactly. It was like oh, Mary, good night. Oh no.
Yeah, so bad. All right, so then let's do some villains. I'm gonna do villains the same way. My top villain, Scaramanga.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, when Sir Christopher Lee shows up as your villain in anything, and you have to choose one, he is, if not number one, he's in top 5.
Yeah.
And for here, there's no one better. My number 2, obviously, is Max Zorin.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Chris Walken.
And you count him? He's a worthy villain. What's his plan? What was his plan? What was the plan?
Ginny, you didn't watch the movie. Let me explain it to you. I'm gonna breed horses,
right?
Super Nazi horses. I might be a super powered Nazi horse myself. You don't know. Hey, they also, we don't know. It's alluded to. Then microchips. So microchips plus Nazi horses plus destroying the fault line in Silicon Valley equals profit. I mean,
step 1. The fault line. Step 2. Step 3, profit.
Right. And yeah, his plan was a view to a kill. Thank you, John. Thank you.
It's in the title. They tell you.
And he even says it, right? Mayday goes, that's a nice view. And he goes, to a kill.
They're like,
so then I got Mr. Big because Yaphet Kotto's amazing.
I do have, I think those are my straight up top 3. I have it. I had Mr. Big, Dr. Kananga. And also because he was weird, because again his death is so bad, but he's a formidable foe. He, like Christopher Lee, are these, like, I think, amazing presence.
They have gravitas. Yeah.
And that face, when he has like the weird prosthetic face when he's Mr. Big, is so weird. I was like, oh my god, like, what are we doing here? Again, it's very alarming.
That makes so much more sense in the book. I don't remember if we talked about it, but like part of the book is like he had 2 personas. One was Mr. Big, and the other was like the head of a legitimate company or something. And you only find out like at some point, like I knew where it was going, but the audience first reading it only finds out at some point they're the same person when he does that reveal. And I think I don't even think they were trying for that. I think they were just trying to keep the reveal, and it just looks like a weird prosthesis.
Yeah. A little strange.
And then like my mid-tier, like my forgettable ones are like Aristotle and Stromberg. And
I want to put Stromberg lower because I know who that actor is because he's from this weird movie that I've seen before, but he's so boring.
He's got no presence. He's got an awesome plot. Like his plan, that's the kind of plan I would do. I'm going to save the world by flooding it and killing billions and billions and saving only the people I deem society should run society. That's the kind of shit that I would do as a Bond villain. But I would be gregarious and have presence, and he did not.
And you need pizzazz. You need pizzazz.
You do. Like, I almost wish that they got the actor who played Drax to play Stromberg, like, because I think that actor is good, but he's way too, like, so much of that movie is way up its own ass, and I think he is so cartoonish that he is literally in my bottom. But I think the actor, given just a little more I mean, because I couldn't even tell you what the actor Stromberg could do because I only know him from this, and he does nothing.
Right. No, and Drax, who is that? What actor is that? Is that Louis Jourdan? Is a French guy?
I think so. I can look it up.
Because I was like, and he's been all the villains. And Stromberg again, a blustery old like German man. I don't know. No thanks. He's bottom for me.
Actually, bottom for me is Kamal Khan.
Oh, yeah,
because
I
he
guess.
doesn't like.
Yeah.
There are three possible villains in that movie, and none of them do anything. And
You're
so,
you're
like,
you're totally right. Yeah, that's
he's the main villain, but he does nothing.
it's kind of the worst. Yeah, and it's so last second. And I think I hate. Is that a? I mean, if there's more than one villain in a Pierce Brosnan movie, we know it. And they're both sort of, I don't know, they're very different. They're very like, at least with Elektra and Robert Carlyle, they were like two
Right.
different villains, and same with like Die Another Day.
Right, or
I
Ormov
mhm.
and Trevelyan in
And
Goldeneye,
GoldenEye,
and they
yeah.
make sense, like, because Ormov is your first, like, your false start villain, and Trevelyan's the big reveal.
Yes,
And
yes.
they might have been trying with this because Kamal Khan, like, is someone like he was like Octopussy's right hand man, but like I don't care. Like, okay, so this guy, this thief, is going to try to kill another thief to take her. Like, this does no weight to me that he is the traitor.
It is so less. If you it's a blink and you miss it. And I think if I was when I watched that movie years ago, I did blink and miss it, which is why
Right,
I
right.
thought he was the main villain.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. So, what's your what are your like thoughts
Well,
on the
those
villains?
um besides, I think Max Zorn showing up, our only American, well, besides Mr. Big, showing up,
Right.
and Christopher Lee, who was kind of a star. I don't know. I don't know. I'm a fan of the horror, like the Hammer horror
Oh yeah.
movies that he did.
And
So in my mind, that's kind of makes him a bit of more of a star.
is this? Oh, this is pre Star Wars, right?
Yeah, it was like early 70s. So
This was early 70s. Oh, but Christopher Lee's not. He's in the prequels. I'm thinking Peter.
yeah,
I was
Peter
thinking of the guy
Cushing,
who
his
plays
best
Grand
friend,
Moff Tarkin. Yeah,
his
because
best friend.
I've seen so many Hammer horror movies with him and Peter Cushing. Like literally, like we are doing this because we're getting paid and hanging out. Isn't that right, Peter Cushing? Yes, we're getting paid and hanging out. You know what I mean?
We're best friends.
I'm Dracula. I guess I'm Dracula's best friend.
No, and Max Sorin, yeah, who showed up like and won me over. And I don't care for Octopussy I don't think Maud Adams is that great. I don't think she's that great. I mean, she's fine as second Bond henchwoman. Or yeah, in Man with a Golden Gun, but I don't care for her as her own as the lead of her own movie.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. All right, and I guess just honorable mentions because there's really nothing to rate here. But the henchmen, like Jaws and Knick-Knack, we don't need any other henchmen in this.
Jaws and Knick-Knack.
In this
I
run,
like Tee-Hee. I love Tee-Hee.
Oh, you know what? You know what? Fuck me. I'm an idiot. I forgot about Tee-Hee because I'm all about Jaws and Knick-Knack here. You're right. Tee-Hee also on the top 3 best hench of this run.
Because you give me a claw or a little. That's all. He's got a signature move, a laugh, and that's his name.
Yes.
And then he's got a signature, and he's got the a little weapon, a weapon of choice. I mean, what else could you? What were the henchmen in Octopussy? I was trying to think.
I mean, there were 7 villains, so I guess 3 of them must have been henchmen. It was the knife. Someone was a henchman. It was the knife throwers, right? Weren't the knife throwers henchmen? And let's say, or the cult, like they're just not memorable. And then, like, I don't care. Like, if the henchmen to a view to a kill, like, Mayday's a close thing to get, and she's a Bond girl, so I'm not like. And if I had to put her in the henchman, she's the best. So there you go.
I know she does it all. She does it all, and she's a Renaissance woman. And
exactly.
I loved her, and I support her, and I miss her.
Same here.
Rest in peace.
Who's the henchman for Your Eyes Only? That would require one of us to remember that movie at all, which we watched maybe less than 2 months ago.
I remember her arrows, and I remember she wearing this really awesome dress walking around in Greece. And I go, this is just every girl's vacation right now because everyone's going to Greece.
Shooting arrows at people.
Everyone's on Instagram taking pictures of Greece and taking sunset like shots.
Yeah, you're right. But I think I actually think their henchmen are really interesting. I think Tee-Hee is the only one of the 3 from the books. which I
That's
think
crazy.
is cool.
Jaws
And I like
not, I guess why is it?
no, because The Spy Who Loved Me. Well, all right. To be fair, I didn't actually get through The Spy Who Loved Me but I doubt he's in it because literally it's written in first person point of
Yeah,
view
that's
from
right.
the woman who's in love with him, and I just couldn't get past the 50 pages of sprawling breakfast. Like I can barely deal with it when James Bond's giving me a 20-page synopsis of his breakfast and what he drank and how he takes his coffee. I can't do it for some woman I've never seen before in these books and never will see again.
I'm forced to.
Right. But Knickknack's definitely not in The Man with the Golden Gun. Like none of that stuff is in The Man with the Golden Gun for the most
Why?
part. Well, The Man with the Golden Gun was just a short story.
Right. No
And
time
the
for
titular
henchmen.
man, yeah, there's no time. And the titular Man with the Golden Gun is just like he is like that swaggery and stuff, but the whole plot really revolves around like opening a casino and real estate stuff. Like the plot's not that exciting.
He doesn't have like a weird animatronic circus in his basement.
No, and he has no idea who James Bond is. Like he's not obsessed with him. It's like he's just doing
Well,
his
what's the
thing down.
point?
He's doing his thing down in the Caribbean, and Bond is sent to infiltrate because he's working with like the Russians. He's helping fund the KGB, and he's helping
Of
fund
course.
like Castro, and he's helping fund all of the enemies of democracy and capitalism. So Bond goes there to infiltrate and winds up getting himself a gig, like helping him run his hotel while he has these meetings.
Okay,
And
undercover.
the titular man with the golden gun is like, yeah, I'm gonna wind up killing this guy anyway. We were short staffed because they've very quickly it becomes clear that James Bond is a British spy. And so he's just like, yeah, we'll just let him keep working. I got my eye on him, and we're a bit short staffed here. I was gonna kill him
Oh my
anyway.
gosh.
Instead of killing him at the end of this, we'll kill him tomorrow.
That's the most like current contemporary like villain, if ever there was one, like in our day and age, was like, guys, but there is a staffing shortage in every business. Our candidates have like declined, and so we are short staffed. We're gonna need you to take on more work. I know he's trying to infiltrate us and bring us down from the inside, but he knows Excel sheets. Like we need to keep him on.
Let me ask you a question. When you came in, who took your bags? That's right, the spy did. And who brought you to your room? The spy. Did you tip the spy? You did not. Do you know how hard it is to find that kind of help? You're going to wait till the end of your trip, maybe the end of someone else's, and then we're going to kill him. Contingent on if we can get someone as good working the concierge desk.
We'll have him train a few people too while we still have him, right?
Maybe you can bring in some MI6 people, train the rest of the staff. We'll just kill the MI6 people. This will all work out. Trust me.
That's really funny. That's really funny.
It's funny because that story starts and ends with the two most interesting bookends of any of the James Bond stuff I've listened to so far. But the middle is all fluff. Like it starts because I think it's the last thing Ian Fleming wrote. And it starts with James Bond coming back from a mission in which he was kidnapped by the KGB and reprogrammed, and he attempts to murder M upon coming back. And then he's deprogrammed, and they send him after this man with the golden gun to infiltrate, knowing that he's probably going to get killed because the man with the golden gun brags constantly, and it's true, he eats people like that, like agents for breakfast.
Yeah.
And then it ends after all of the, minutia of running a hotel. It ends with James Bond turning down getting knighted by the Queen.
Oh no!
Yes.
Why? Because he's like, I don't need.
Because he's like, it's more like if you knight me, I can't do my job, and Queen and country first, and I don't want that kind of heat. I like being anonymous. I just want to get back to work.
Is he there at the ceremony and it's just like no, and then just like stands up and walks out?
It's not. It's just it's really anticlimactic. Actually, he's in a hospital with his old secretary, who obviously is not a secretary anymore, but she just happened to have been around in Jamaica when he went. And I think I told you about this. They're the ones who have the consensual sex, where they're like, "Hey, we both just like each other. We don't work together anymore. Let's just have some sex." And she's into it. I mean, everyone's into it. But so at the end, she's helping him convalesce because he gets very injured, and M sends through her a telegram, and he has her respond to the telegram while he's convalescing. It's just like, sorry, can't take it, But no Knick-Knack, who is I actually think one of my favorite henchmen, just because I love Hervé Villechaize. I loved actually seeing a little person kick the shit out of James Bond.
I know.
And I just, as I think I said this during James Bond, during when we did that movie, I just wish they handled him with a bit more respect. I don't think they were out and out like, shitting on him, but the way he ends up as opposed to the way other villains or henchmen end up was very disrespectful. I think it was more because we can't kill a little person. That's going to cause some issues. It's like, you'd kill anyone. You killed the giant person. You killed all the medium
off
people.
a train. Yeah.
Tee off a train. You murder women and children, James Bond. Just kill the man. He's evil.
He's just like the rest of us. So.
Yeah, exactly. But that's it. So before we move on to the Austin Powers trilogy, is there any other highs and lows we didn't hit that you feel we need to talk about?
And I had my highs of I have my lows, which is J.W. Pepper.
Yes, of course.
Bond, like doing the tarot cards with like a cloak on him. I hate that. That's my little octopusy. I hate that line. Clowns. Those are pretty low. But highs.
A pigeon doing a double take.
A pigeon doing a double take. Blaxploitation cab drivers, not great.
Oh yeah, not good. But at least but in defense of that movie, at least it was trying to be a blaxploitation movie, so it wasn't
interesting.
Like it doesn't excuse it, and I don't think it works. But at least it was achieving what it was trying.
See, man, hey, Moonraker for that.
No,
in that regard too.
No. Moonraker achieved nothing. Not on my show, Jenny. No, it's our show. You can like Moonraker. I'm kidding.
All right. I'll back off. Yeah, man. I mean, highs. I actually appreciate Roger Moore. I have highs and lows of him, but I thought he got worse. I genuinely thought his character got worse. But it seems like he grew up and throughout his movies a little bit.
I 100% agree with that, Jenny, because he starts off, and even in The Spy Who Loved Me, he's kind of a shitheel.
Yeah.
Like, he's nasty. He is, like, all James Bonds are misogynist and sexist with a capital M, but he's got a capital M underlined with, like, an umlaut or some other, like, something from another language. Like, he is, like, he's the most misogynist Bond in some of these movies. But you're right. Like, by the end, he's a bit more tempered. He's a bit more understanding. This is a Bond, intentionally or not, that has had growth because of his missions.
I don't know. I don't know if it was on purpose. I don't know if it was something he was tired, but I thought I appreciate that. I think he grew up a little bit.
Yeah, I do too. And I don't know. I have to really consider this. I'm not promising, but I might move him up for my least favorite Bond because there was a lot here to really enjoy. This like there were issues, but I think there's more fun to be had in the Roger Moore era than there are problems, and that's more. I never gave it that much credit. I always thought there were more issues. So I think my big takeaway, because I echo everything you said. Like you read my mind and everything you said. So I think my big takeaway is I think I like Roger Moore a lot more in rewatching this and discussing it with you.
And that's what this is about, isn't it? Let's revisit.
I think it is, right? It's about revisiting and getting a fresh perspective because, again, we talk all the time about like how you watch these movies. You watch them on TNT, right? During a certain time. Same here. We watched them binge watch it. We called them as a kid. We dipped in and out. My stepfather would be watching it. And I hated my stepfather. I wasn't spending time with him, but I'd be in and out and I'd be watching and then I get obsessed with the Connery stuff in my high school, in my college years. And so, but like going through it as an adult and having like actual conversations about it and having to justify certain feelings or talk about certain feelings, it's really given me a lot of insight that I actually do kind of like the Roger Moore era.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful discovery.
All right, I think that brings us, yeah, baby. That brings us
Oh my
to our
gosh.
shagadelic episode of Austin Powers, yeah, baby.
Yeah. Oh, behave.
Oh, behave.
I'm not doing any impressions. I can only do like really dumb characters from these movies because I have some. It's
we,
I low key love Austin Powers. I used to like love them, and every so many years I'd watch them and be like, oh, this still holds up. Oh, this is still pretty funny. And now I watched it again. I was like, I haven't watched the sequels though in a while.
well, we're gonna talk about the sequels, but Ginny, before we talk about the sequels, I have to bring someone on from my cabinet of evil. Someone who might back me up in my opinions where you disagree. For how far best in a let in number 4. Letting in number 4! Tim! Tim!
What's up, guys?
Welcome.
What's going on?
Deep dive. Tim, have you officially met Ginny? Have you guys done a show together?
What did we appear on together?
It wasn't Bond, but it was, or was it? We did Batman Forever.
Oh, that's right.
We were defending it while everyone else was bashing it.
That's right. I didn't remember it. I wanted to make sure that you guys, had the proper introductions. I wouldn't want it to get weird, mamas.
We were the defenders of Batman Forever, so yeah, we met. Happy birthday week, by the way, Jenny. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
I do apologize for popping in unannounced, but
no,
I didn't get a chance to do the deep dive because I said my Bond knowledge is not where it should be. But once I saw Austin Powers, I was like, I gotta go jump on for that.
There it is. Look, I've been trying to get you on the show forever. So if this is what makes it happen, this is what makes it happen.
Something at least I know.
All right. So I figure with this, we'll talk a little bit about the first one. We'll deep dive the first one because I'm going to be honest. I think that first one holds up in a lot of ways that I was unsure it would. And then we can gloss over the second one. And then I can just verbally abuse a third one for a while, and then we're done. But, okay, well, Tim, since you're joining us and since you're new to the show, why don't you tell us? I
should have worn an eye patch.
That would have been awesome. I actually, you know what I really wish I did? Just thought of it now because when our friend Will came on and did an episode, he actually dressed up as Blofeld. And I kind of wish I would have thought to dress up as Will as Blofeld for my Dr. Evil, but there we go.
That would have been great.
All right, but Tim, talk about your So, did you rewatch it recently, or are you going off memory?
I'm going off memory.
All right, so talk about your memory.
I've seen them enough to really to I should be able to hold up with you guys.
No, I'm sure you could. I'm sure you will. So talk about the first one. Like, what are your thoughts, impressions, remembrances of the first one, and do you thoughts and impressions, if any, through the James Bond lens? And if there are none, skip it.
I remember. I see. I knew you're gonna beat up on the sequels, but I kind of remember digging the second one more than the first one. Yeah. But
everyone does, but me.
Because I think that's where Dr. Evil really started. He really let loose a little bit. He was a little more, I don't want to say tight-ass than the first one. That's not the right word. I think he was still looking for the character in the first one. And then he found that in the second one I thought was much better. No, I thought it was a fantastic parody of Bond. It had all the stupidity, all wrapped up perfectly, cleverly, not just poorly, into a great movie. It had me rolling from the beginning. I absolutely loved the first one when it came out.
Yeah, I saw the first one in the theater. I was 17 or 18. I was in high school.
I saw the second one first. Figure that out.
Oh,
wow. Oh, yeah, that's why you like the second one more. That makes sense.
Yeah, I saw the second one in the theater. Then I was like, well, I like this. Go back and watch the first one now. So that's what I did.
Yeah, a lot of people slept on the first one. The first one was a box office flop. Mm-hmm. It only got its sequels in rentals.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I saw it.
Right, yeah, that's how most people saw it. I actually saw this movie in the theater in Times Square with the friend of the show, Steve Grogan, and other people went to high school with. God, I'm getting old. I don't remember that anymore. And I remember being obsessed with it. I was obsessed with Austin Powers, the character specifically. I actually do probably somewhere still own an Austin Powers blue velvet suit that I wore for for Halloween one year because I went as Austin Powers. I had the wig. I love Dr. Evil. Like this first movie is one of my favorite comedies of all time. So that's kind of my history with this. Ginny, what's your history with this movie?
I probably watched this movie too young. There's a lot of, my mom was visiting this weekend and we were talking about things we saw and they just didn't like monitor what we watched. So it was like a comedy. It was like an SNL guy. So they thought we'd all like it. And it was like a lot of dirty humor in it. I love it. I think this movie holds up. I think this is just like a little classic bits that is even like, I don't think it's horribly offensive, but I think there's sex jokes, but I don't think it's like, I don't think it's aged poorly because I think there's some physical comedy stuff that's just so funny and some like dumb jokes that that we don't really do anymore. I don't know. I like some. What was the gosh? There's just like the one line like, "This is my let me allow myself to introduce myself."
Introduce myself, yeah.
I still quote that. I think
there is some fun. Like I always said about this movie, Austin Powers is the way that Mike Myers gets to do all the stupid, dumb sex like comedy jokes or whatever, and just being stupid. And Dr. Evil is him being like see, I can actually act and be funny when I'm not just playing my own shtick. And that's kind of how I view it. But I like the funny stuff, like the piss gag when he first comes out of cryo freeze, and it's like evacuation come. You know, I think still worked for me. The opening to this movie where like we played the Quincy Jones at the beginning where he does that whole 60s dance number. It's kind of like a send up of Beatlemania. I really enjoyed that. Like, yeah, so I agree. I think this movie does still hold up with a lot of fun stuff.
There's just some lines that this time I watched it for the, I haven't seen it in a while. I thought I like just remembered all these jokes. The one line was so like silly, but he says it when Dr. Evil's introducing his cabinet. Like when he gets back into the future. And what does he say about Frau, what's her name? The woman, Frau Brissina.
Which, by the way, Frau Brissina, one of my favorite characters in this whole shebang. She's so funny.
Oh my gosh. What does he go? She sends up the militia of the Salvation Army or something like that, or she's the head of the militia. It's like I was like, I really thought that was funny.
She's the head of the militant wing of.
I like cackled. I was like, I've never heard that. I never caught that before. And then I'm Richie Cunningham, and this is my wife, Oprah. I think that's so stupidly funny.
I know. I absolutely agree. Tim, any jokes that you remember from the first one that stick out? Because we're gonna get to the sequels after, but any jokes from the first one that stick out to you?
The one that gets me every time still is just Dr. Evil giving his backstory.
Oh God, yes. And may I? Because I actually wanted to read through this.
I can say I laugh every goddamn time I watch that part. It's the greatest thing ever. I was watching this a couple nights ago, and I was watching that very scene, and I sent Ginny and Ed a message like, this is literally one of the funniest moments, in my opinion, of any comedy. And I'm just gonna. I have his little speech up because I wanted to talk about it because it's so like it's not only brilliantly written, but it's also brilliantly acted. But if I may indulge,
yes,
very well. Where do I begin? My father was a relentlessly self-improving boulangerie owner from Belgium with low-grade narcolepsy and a penchant for buggery. My mother was a 15-year-old French prostitute named Chloe with webbed feet. My father would womanize, he would drink, he would make outrageous claims like he invented the question mark.
My favorite
Sometimes, though it's mine too, actually.
That's my favorite line.
Sometimes he would accuse chestnuts of being lazy, the sort of general malaise that only the genius possess in the insane lament. My childhood was typical. Summers in Rangoon, luge lessons. In the spring, we'd make meat helmets, which always fucking gets me. When I was insolent, I was placed in a burlap bag and beaten with reeds. Pretty standard, really. At the age of 12, I received my first scribe. At the age of 14, a Zoroastrian woman named Vilma ritualistically shaved my testicles. There's really nothing like a shorn scrotum. It's breathtaking. I suggest you try it. Like, The writing on that is so good.
Because
some of
I'm saying, Jason, we come from alcoholic dads who have made insane claims, like inventing the question mark, which makes it even way more funny. It just makes it, because I've had my father did it as a as joking, not really, but he has. If I ever told you some of the stories he came up with, like real quick, his number one story that all my family loves is he beat Larry Bird in a game of basketball in the park. So in the rain, He would
make crazy claims like he beat Larry Bird in the park in the rain at basketball.
They were playing till 3. He was shooting hoops in the rain. Larry Bird gets out of a car, says, "We'll play to 3." So my father drove to the lane on him, scored 2. Larry Bird said, "I gotta go." Shot the 3-pointer, walked away, never saw him again. That's his story. Not even joking, word for word. That's one of my father's drinking stories. So inventing the question mark was tame to me, but it was still a phenomenal line.
Oh, it's wonderful. But yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. Like, I asked you a question that I completely jumped on what you said because that's literally my favorite part of the movie. But go ahead. And I think it's appropriate that you discuss that, Tim, because who's in that scene?
What do you mean? Who that scene? Oh, Carrie Fisher.
Yeah,
Carrie Fisher.
Who was Princess Leia, and as we know, let's shameless plug, Tim does Shooting the Sith here on Pop Culture Pros, everything Star Wars, so join him for that. But yeah, I'm sorry, Tim, go for it.
No, yeah, that's I'm more of a Dr. Evil guy, so yeah, that part really, it just like I was like hooked after that. I was like, I got to know more about this guy because that was hysterical, and because it just keeps going too, like you said, it just gets more ridiculous as it goes on. Yeah, that part probably stands out the most for me.
He sells it too, like
he does.
Like my biggest problem going forward with Dr. Evil is I think Dr. Evil becomes more just like into like, hey, I'm Mike Myers, I'm funny, whatever I do is funny, and everything's gonna be my shtick. But like here, he's not doing his shtick. He's doing that with Austin Powers. Here, he's genuinely being funny in a sense of like he's very serious. And what I like about him, Tim, is I think what you said that you weren't crazy about is he does have a stick up his ass. This is a James Bond villain resurrected in this insane world and just operating in that insane world. You know?
Yeah, because 2 and 3 he gets a little more silly because they play up they know people like the character, so they play it up. It gets a little more silly, a little more funnier, stupid. But yeah, this one it's more like you said, straight laced. He means every word he said. His mother's got web feet. He's beating in a burlap sack. It's such a great. What do you want to call it? A monologue, I guess. Whatever you want to call it.
Because he's so sincere. I love his like plans when he's like going to hold. He's like telling the UN. He's like, we're going. He tells his team. He's like, all right, we're going to go blackmail. We're going to tell the royal family that Prince Charles has been cheating. And they'll have to file for divorce. And they're like, he was caught cheating, and he and Diana have divorced. And he's like, oh, shit.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes. Oh shit. Which is a great place of your curse word in that moment.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the boss. And that info.
Yeah, that led to one of the lines I've said all the time. Need the info all the time.
And his second one is great too. Okay, so we're going to create a laser and use that laser to like pretty much destroy the ozone layer.
It's so great.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's so good in this.
So the one line I always quote over and over, it's so stupid. It's like Austin Powers going, "Oh, I fell over. Oh, I fell over again." I say with my kids are like crawling. I'm like, "Oh, I fell over."
Oh, this is me in a nutshell. This is you in a nutshell. This is me in a I'm in a nutshell. How'd I get in this nutshell? Yeah, I like that one.
What's he do? The bit that's so great. We always used to do it was the where he's like, "Oh well, you know what? I'll take the stairs." And he does the behind the and it's so. Is that from something though? I think it's such a good bit. It's so stupid. I love it.
I only know it from this.
That's a vaudeville thing. That's a
like
vaudeville thing. Yeah, an old vaudeville thing. The guy on the Cosby Show did it that one time. That's how I remember it. that one guy did it. Yeah.
Like, oh, come downstairs with me, young girl.
Not
that guy. We're gonna take the elevator and drink.
Oh man.
Oh, but yeah, but I'm with you guys. Like on this rewatch, I actually kind of I don't know. I didn't really love the character Austin Powers on this rewatch, but I doubled down on my love for Dr. Evil 100%. Like, and just little things like he freezes himself in a giant Bob's Big Boy in that first one.
That's so funny when that's such a stupid, because they're even playing it super serious where they go, well, it looks like the shape of Big Boy.
Yes.
Goes, oh my God, he's back. And he goes,
Big Boy's back. Well, the Big Boy's never left.
He's always offered the same quality.
In some ways, the Big Boy's never gone away. He's always offered. It's everything. It's so serious. That's what makes it so great.
Yeah, I think that's what I love about this first one is there's like the second and the third, they're looking at the audience, they're winking to the audience, they're talking to the audience. Like, you know, like this one, it plays seriously, as a serious comedy. Like, you know, Dr. Evil's not winking at the audience and he's not singing Just the Two of Us with Mini-Me. As fun as that might be, like, this is what if Blofeld from James Bond, who's really Lorne Michaels, like showed up in the 90s. And
it's
what I think about
parody, parody.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. It's a serious parody, exactly, as opposed to what the franchise becomes, which is you know, a looser parody. Not, I mean, I don't know. Like watching some of these today, I don't know and yesterday, I don't know what they are parodying anymore. At some point.
No, the first one's a straight up James Bond parody. The other ones are just sequels.
Yeah, right.
It was parody. Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Scott Evil, Seth Green, which I think is really funny in this movie. Just like him again, it all has to do with him, like because his whole thing is I want to be loved, right? I've never known you, and he's like a goth kid, like where's that? Maybe the second one where he's got the black hair, but anyway. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jenny.
Oh no! It was just that he plays it so like normal, just like, oh yeah, we were down at the arcade, and they were like, oh, what are you gonna do? And they were like, fight us, and we were like, no, get out, make me. It was awesome. He's so dumb.
Yeah, I really appreciated him.
Well, he's the guy who everyone wants to yell at the screen. He's that guy for us because he's the guy like,
yeah.
Well, yes. Like if you can go back in time, why don't you just kill him when he was a baby?
Right.
Like, kill him all and Dr. Evil looks like the way he looks at him, like that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. like I'm gonna do this giant elaborate plan that has no chance of winning. Instead of just using my time machine to go back in time and kill Austin Powers.
Just like, why are you feeding him?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Just kill him.
Yeah, Scott Evil's he's our like, what are you doing? Stop doing that. And Dr. Evil's like, man, you're just a strange one here. Like I have the right plan. So yeah, I like Scott too.
Yeah, and you're right. At the end and actually. Tim, this was your comment from before. I was saving it for now. I didn't know you were coming on. But when he wants to get them sent to the sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their heads, and Scott's like, "Wait, you're gonna put him in there? You're not even gonna watch them die? I got a gun. I'm gonna go get the gun. We'll kill them together." Like that's a really funny line.
I just love the effortless of just no. I'm gonna lock him in there, shut the doors, walk away, and assume it all went according to plan.
You're right.
Like right?
What? Like Scott thinks he's like, we'll kill him together. Like you're crazy, man. I'm gonna close the door. He'll die. Yeah, but we can kill him now. That's so great.
So great. And I think the henchman parodies I think are really good in this. So we'll go through the henchmen. We'll start with number 2. Robert Wagner.
Robert Wagner. Perfect role for Robert Wagner. Perfect role.
The corporations. It's all about corporations.
Yes. And by the way, this Robert Wagner act, and I didn't realize this ever until I watched it the other night, right? But Robert Wagner and Dr. Evil are set up because this movie, Austin Powers, actually has something to say about society, right? Because in the 60s, Evil was, I'm going to hold you ransom and destroy and rule the world. And now Evil is, what? I've given us a public face. I've earned $91 million. $9 billion. What is this line? Like, we make $9 billion a year at Virtucon. I have put my life into doing this. But like, you know, this was the tail end of the 90s. So your villains were corporate shills, right?
Yeah.
So this movie's actually making a comment that like, no. not only has good changed, not only has the swing and free sex changed, but evil has taken a new look. And I think Robert Wagner was perfect for that.
Yep, he was.
And then Mustafa had a funny death scene. I agree.
And I like it in the second one too. That's this dumb little recurring bit that I like. I like Will Ferrell.
Was Will Ferrell a household name at this point?
No, he was just on SNL, and then but that's like they do that now. With if you're kind of a starting player on SNL, like maybe you'll get a little cameo and like something like a train wreck or something, like I don't know if they do their movies anymore. But like, no, he wasn't a big star yet.
Ladies Man 3.
Remember Ladies Man, Superstar, all the classics.
All the classics. But yeah, so Robert Wagner's fantastic in this. My personal favorite is Frau Farbissina. I mean, and I love in the sequel, and this got a genuine laugh from me when they go into the past and it's Rob Lowe as number 2, and it's just the woman who plays Frau Farbissina. Frau Farbissina, she's always looked like this.
Exactly the same.
He's like, oh, number 2, you look so young, and he looks and just goes like, was like, right.
Frau, you look so right.
And then of course Random Task.
I chuckled at it. I forgot that was his name.
Great name.
It's fantastic, and I think it's a great parody. Throws a shoe.
Who throws a shoe? Honestly,
who throws a shoe? And Patty O'Brien, which I just that always have to be Lucky Charms. But the setup for that joke was so smart.
It's so funny, and it's also so sincere, and just like they're always after my Lucky Charms.
Why does everybody laugh when I say that?
Right. And then
it's like commercial.
And that was Dr. Evil's his best. Trying to hold it in. It's so great.
Yeah, like between that, and her, it's a commercial. The kids.
I'm eating candy. Oh, this is fun.
It's great.
Oh, it's brilliant. So, all 3 out of the 4 of these are actually based on James Bond villains. Because as I was watching, I was actually I actually did something I must never do, and I wasn't doing something else while I was watching the content. I focused. And I was taking notes. Right. So number 2 is the guy from Thunderball. His name is Largo.
Oh, I don't remember. I have to.
We'll get to him. He's got the eye patch. Frau Farbissina. Again, it's from the Sean Connery run. She's based on the woman from I think from Russia with Love. Yeah. Kleb. And of course, Random Task is Odd Job. That goes without saying. So I really like how clever, they didn't make them like carbon copies, but except for maybe Random Task, which that's all it needed to be. But they gave them characters and had them resemble other villains. So I really wanted to say how smart I thought the setting up of these henchmen were.
Oh, there's love there. There's love. A lot of love.
There's a lot of love. Sorry. I absolutely love Dr. Evil. Anyone want to talk about the Tom Arnold cameo? Because
I was gonna talk about. I liked it. You gotta use Tom Arnold very specifically. I thought this was hilarious. I just the damn boy. What did you eat?
The damn boy. What did you? That's actually the perfect fun. It's so funny because it's who does number 2 work for? And it's yeah, you give that's too hell boy. Hey, courtesy flush. And then he's not even surprised that it's just a man in the toilet. He's like, what did you eat?
Happy.
You tell that turd who's boss.
We're gonna get through this together. Just bite down and grip.
Yeah, it's such a great line.
I know I'm dating myself here, but I kind of miss a good Tom Arnold cameo,
Oh, I was a child of the 90s, so I watched Carpool. You ever see that movie? That's a Tom Arnold
I haven't.
When he holds a family ransom in a car and they're just driving around and there's annoying children. It's hilarious.
Wow.
Not a good movie.
Yeah, I've never.
You don't need to. No, you don't need to. Very nice movie.
But yeah, then let's see. The fembots. We should talk about the fembots.
Yeah, I think that's hilarious. I love them. I think that's still kind of like there's something iconic about the Barbarella and then the little
Right?
it's a great Halloween costumes.
So you know how I always do this? I always do like the jokes based on what we watched. My joke today almost was, will Ginny reveal her machine gun jubblies? Will I reveal my shorn scrotum? And I was like, you know what? Maybe that's not the time for it. Maybe it's going to places we shouldn't go on this deep dive.
Oh, it's so funny. And I also just love it, just that scene where he blows them all up as the Divinals, I Touch Myself, which is like just one of the best songs ever written.
Yes. And the use of that. And actually,
Oh, yeah.
That's Mike Myers. Like, I really like Mike Myers in this movie. I really start to dislike Mike Myers after this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But in this movie, I really like him. And in this moment where he's just like, he's doing these subtle things and you just see them like freaking out. Like, I just thought it was just well done, well paced, well shot. He was giving just enough like charm and assholeness. Like, yeah, I thought it worked.
You know what he's good in? I actually like the scene where they're like in bed laughing and doing the chestnut thing, and she tries to kiss him, and he's like, "You're drunk. I'm not doing that." And I like that.
Yeah.
I also think it's really serious talking about her mom, and he's like, she was an amazing woman, and he's just kind of got like he's very sincere, and I'm like, he's a really good actor. Mike Myers could have done more serious work.
He absolutely could have. And I think he did, right? Didn't he play the guy who owned 54, Club 54?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 54. That was like his Oscar, trying to get that, trying to get the Oscar,
I want an Oscar, baby.
He was in Bohemian Rhapsody as the asshole.
Was he?
Record owner. Yeah. He had one cameo. He was an asshole. It was great.
I gotta say, I want to see it just for that. Because I'm happy he's still working. Because that's a newer movie, right? Bohemian Rhapsody, last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad he's still working. Although after the Love Guru, he needed a break.
No, he'd take a 10-year break after that.
Yeah. He's trying to get Austin 4 off the board. This way he can get back in the spotlight. So he's trying.
God. He's trying,
but no one's biting yet, which is not good.
And that goes with the comment we had, right? One of my favorite trilogies. We need a fourth. Jeremiah. I think Mike Myers agrees with you. He's
giving the people what they want.
Exactly. All right, so let's see. I liked there was a homage to Goldfinger here, right? Do you expect them to pay? No, Mr. Powers, I expect them to die. That was really nice. The lab coat gag I thought was really nice when they're going to infiltrate Dr. Evil's like base, and they see a really tall guy and a really fat woman with a lab coat, and they give each other a nod. They go in, they come out and it's perfectly fit. And here's one of my problems with it, and it's stupid, but Austin Powers obviously needs oral surgery. And Vanessa gives him toothpaste and a toothbrush, as if his problem is that in the 1960s, people just didn't brush their teeth.
That's British dental. That's different from American 1960s.
Yeah,
the people in the 90s, all they really just wanted to do was just brush their teeth, and they thought, oh, that's care. That's it. We're good. Nothing else. No other dental work.
But so, all right. So before we get into the sequels, does this movie hold up? Like overall, does this movie hold up?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. You can watch. I mean, you can watch it. If you can watch it now and still laugh, that's all I need.
It's raunchier than a lot of movies are today, but that's part of the bit. That's part of the jokes, and that's kind of what it's parroting. That's all what it's about.
Yeah, it was shot very well, like a 60s Bond movie or a 70s spy movie. The different scenery boxes moving around, and although I thought it looked like it really did look like it was from the 60s to the 70s, which was a great job by was it Jay Roach? He directed.
Jay Roach, yeah.
Great job by them and for making it look that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree. I think this is still one of my favorite comedies of all time. I watch it and I go, I absolutely cannot fathom why anyone would want to have sex with Austin Powers. He looks like Mike Myers, and he's twice as obnoxious.
And hairy.
Yeah, and very, very hairy, and like when we get to the third one with everyone's freaking out about his mole, it's like what's his face's mole? Yeah, it's like Mike Myers. Have you looked in the fucking mirror, buddy? You don't have the clearest of face. I'm not judging you, but leave this mole guy alone. Is what I'm saying. But yeah, no, I think it definitely holds up. I think it's a really fun parody of not just James Bond movies, but like 60s spy stuff, like Mrs. Kensington and Miss Kensington are definitely the Emma Peel type.
The army, like the army guys look like straight out of the 60s, like spy movie guys. It was really,
like
100%. Like it really looks good. And I know this movie, it did have a low budget, but it has the lowest budget of the three. I mean, these movies get crazy. But I think what they do with the budget, like it feels authentic and it works. And I'm if you haven't watched it in a while, I'd say go see it. Dr. Evil, just worth it for the Dr. Evil monologue about his past alone. And one more thing before we forget, there was one more James Bond reference I want to talk about, which is when Random Task shows up on their honeymoon at the end. That is directly taken from Diamonds Are Forever, where I think Wint and Kidder, I forget their names, but they're two assassins who show up at the end while James Bond's like getting it done with his lady, and they try to kill him, and he has to like kill them. All right, so I'm gonna open it up. I will talk about the sequels last. I guess we can talk about both of them at once. Tim, you're more of a sequels guy, you said. So we'll talk about the sequels. What's your opinion? We don't have to do it in depth. Just what do you remember was fun about it? Do you think it still holds up? Things like that.
Yeah, I see. Like you said, the first one was the more parody, a little more straightforward. You know, I would say clever even too. But the second one ramps up the stupid jokes. You know, Dr. Evil becomes a little more silly, which I personally like. I thought he was funnier out through this whole movie. I think that I fell in love with him here because I said I saw this one first. So I was dying laughing. Like I remember the MTV stuff with the first Austin Powers, and I was like, this looks dumb. I'm not gonna watch this. But for some reason, we went to see the second one on a whim, like for no reason, and I was like, this is fucking great. I got to go back and watch the first one now. It's so great. And I remember watching it. Other than the monologue, I was like, Dr. Evil wasn't really that funny in this one. He was funnier in the second one. But no, I mean all the great gags are there, and of course he introduced my favorite character, which we all know. Mike Myers is contractually obligated to do Scottish at some point in his life, and that's Fat Bastard. I thought Fat Bastard was funny. I liked Fat Bastard.
Not Shrek.
Yeah, not Shrek, exactly. It's all Shrek. It's all Shrek. It's all Scott. Whatever. He has to do a Scottish accent. It's in his contract. It must be done. So, and I enjoyed Fat Bastard very much. I thought he was great. I called probably Fat Bastard more than any other character. Actually, every time people, you know, I'm a big dude, you know, and I get the advice, you should really lose weight, and I pull out I'm hungry because I'm sad, and I'm sad because I'm hungry. I pull that line out. That's from the third one, though. That's from the third one. I pull that line out all the time. I'm depressed because I eat, and I eat because I'm depressed. It's a vicious cycle.
Actually, Tim, that is from the second one. That's at the very end of the second one.
Yeah, it was the third one.
And I only know that because I just watched the second one yesterday and today. Like he shows up
because he goes thin. He gets thin in the third one. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, right. Because in the second one, I don't like Fat Bastard, but I thought that is his that's his moment where because he's got them at gunpoint and Felicity Shagwell is trying to talk him down off the ledge, and he goes through that moment, and that is funny. I agree with you.
And then he farts, which is again.
And then he just goes, fuck it, I was gonna kill you anyway. So Ginny, what about you?
I know
what memories do you have of this movie?
Because we saw the first one, and then we were all excited for the second one, and the What If God Was One of Us on the piano. Because I also just watched Island of Dr. Moreau recently, like a few months ago, and it's like the Island of Dr. Moreau, and just the, do 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 do. I just that was so stupid. Blee 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 blee. Blah blah blee blee. So dumb, so dumb.
And he is playing with Mini-Me, so thank you, Jeremiah, for the reminder, because he is playing with Mini-Me, which, as you said, Ginny, that's a reference to the Island of Dr. Moreau, which is not a James Bond movie, it's a spy movie.
Oh.
Remember that from the commercial? I mentioned that in the commercial, and I died laughing from that. He goes, "He's exactly like you in every single way, except 1/8 your size." And the way the camera and his reaction, I absolutely. And then he comes walking over and he hops up on the seat. And he goes, "Hello, Mini-Me," and that's it. He fell in love at first sight. It was a love at first sight. And Mini-Me and Scott.
Oh,
probably have the best rivalry in the second two movies.
Yeah, I agree.
What's he saying? He's like, look at him. He's trying to like bite me. Or
he's trying to kill me. Yeah. Don't do that.
And of course, it began the greatest running gag joke, which was Scotty shh, which was I absolutely love that joke too.
I love the bit where he goes in, like, again, his evil plan, where he's like, I forget what the bit is, where he just goes, but we'll call it the Alan Parsons Project.
Oh yeah, that is funny. And I love,
And Scott is us. He's always us. He's like, dude, Alan Parsons Project is a progressive rock band. Idiot.
Would you just call it Wang Chung? I like. So my thing about this movie is I think some of it is real funny. Like I love them on the Jerry Springer Show. It's stupid. It makes no sense. I should hate it, but it's funny. Like
when he comes out, he does what every Jess goes. What?
Yeah.
What?
And then when he starts the fight, like he's like, okay, you son of a bleep 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 bleep, bleep. And then put it back.
Okay. Then he goes at it again. It's so great.
I thought that was real funny. I like the Dr. Evil song, the nod to Goldfinger, like evil. Like that was fun. Let's see. I like the Dr. Evil owns Starbucks. I think that's hysterical. I do actually like Mini-Me. I think Vern Troyer is really funny in these movies. And I realized just today as I was watching it that like that's their send up for Knick Knack.
Yeah, because he fights and
right. And Tim, I don't remember how much you remember the James Bond movie. Knick Knack was a Roger Moore henchman played by Hervé Villachez from Fantasy Island. Mm-hmm. And actually watching it today, I was like, my only problem with Mini-Me is I kind of wish they gave him more character. Like he's got to be Dr. Evil's clone, and he's always quiet. He doesn't get to do much in a lot of these movies, and it's like. I kind of wish they just would have went full in and made him like a knick-knack character.
By the third movie, maybe he's actually like speaking and
right.
has like, his own agenda. But I also love on the Jerry Springer Show. I was just going to say where I think I forget the bit where he's like, we have to tell you that you're not actually like you're our child because Frau and Dr. Evil sleep together and they conceive Scott. But I think Scott's like, but I think I was like, he's like, that's not true. That's not what you told me. And she's like, lies. Oh, lies.
Lies.
I think I used to say that all the time too. We'd go, lies. Oh, lies.
I was going to say that's one of my most quoted lines of all time. Lies. I think that's hysterical. I love Rob Lowe. I forgot he's in this movie. I love him and he's in a cutscene in the first one too. If you've ever seen the cutscenes, like there's a whole scene about like revolving around the family of the security guard who was run over by the very slow moving thing, and Rob Lowe is like one of the family members.
That's funny. No.
But I love his number 2 here in the past.
And he gets his classic hideout. He goes back in time.
Yeah.
Your base is ready. Is it in a hollowed out volcano?
Yes.
He's so happy. I've actually checked in on Facebook from my hollowed out volcano lair several times.
That's awesome. So I think for me, with it, where I start to where this movie and the sequel and the third one more so really falls apart though, is like, why are we traveling through time? Why are we dealing with fucking mojo?
I know.
Like you literally take the Spy Who Loved Me, which is one of the best James Bond movies of all time. You give us The Spy Who Shagged Me. Fucking parody that movie. Give me something from that movie. Give me, if you're doing The Spy Who Loved Me, give me a Jaws type thing. Give me something that isn't like this. Now it's personal. Oh yeah, baby. Now it's personal. It's like this. By the way, is where Spectre comes from. This and the third one is where the movie Spectre comes from with Blofeld. Like everything's personal, Mr. Bond. You know, it's like I really didn't enjoy a lot of that stuff. I thought, although Fat Bastard has that really fun moment, my problem with him is like, it's what you said. Mike Myers has to do a Scottish accent. He's not getting paid enough to do Shrek, apparently. He's got to bring Shrek here. And it's like, but I wouldn't even mind that if he had a character. But his character is, he's fat. And all the jokes that revolve around him, he's fat and disgusting.
You know,
and it's like, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you guys, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Jenny,
I was just going to say the worst bit is because this is either it can get really gross, and the gross part is when they get the stool sample and it's mixed where the coffee's right there and the stool sample's there. I was like, that still, I think, gets me. And not a lot gets to me. That's so gross.
It's very nutty.
It's so gross. Oh my God.
No, but I realized the second one became more about Dr. Evil, I think, than Austin Powers. I thought he was way more in the forefront than Austin Powers was in the second one. And again, like I said Fat Bastard, I quote all the time. I always say I got a crap on deck like a choke a donkey. That's just one of my favorite lines. And I got a turtle head poking out like that one too. I use that with the kids all the time. So yeah, they don't like it, but what are you gonna do?
They're stuck with it.
Yeah, they're stuck with it. I'm trying to educate these kids, get them to watch real good movies.
They gotta know. Yeah, baby. I agree with you that this is definitely a Dr. Evil's movie. I think that's why he has the song, right? Like it's his song that opens this movie. So I definitely agree with you there. What else did I guess that was. Oh wait, we should bring up the assassin Robin Spitz.
I kind of love that a little bit.
Yeah. And her maiden name Swallows.
Yeah.
Robin Spitz and Swallows.
Which one is it, baby? Yeah.
And just the why won't you die? Because he keeps getting like blown. I think it's pretty great.
And then, so we got Heather Graham as Triple X. We got the giant laser on the moon. Obviously, this is a send up of Moonraker.
Yeah, they get to space again, the spacesuits. Yeah, full on.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We get a Heather Graham gets a Honey Rider moment. So
she's such a vintagey looking.
Gorgeous.
She's got I love her. And I like that she's so American. And that she's an American, but there's just like full, like if he's British, she's like American flag. We love that in the 90s, but the Union Jacks are like America. I was like, come on now. It's a great visual.
We absolutely did.
And they did try to give you your explanation. Remember the explanation for the time travel? Basil's just like, don't worry about it. Just enjoy yourself. It looks right at the camera and goes, don't worry about it. Just have a good time. See, I like that.
That's another thing I hate about this movie, though. Is like, just look. It's kind of lazy. We're just going to look into the camera, and they look into the camera so often. Like this was a James Bond parody. Isn't this the perfect moment to introduce a Q-type character who explains it? And the explanation could be nonsense, but just I don't know. Just give me something other than I didn't think about this. And I wrote it. Why are you thinking about this? Like
it's the Mike Myers show. We can't have another SNL cast member come in and be funny, cute.
Right, exactly. And he's already doing
Chris Farley was alive, he would have been in this movie.
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't mind seeing Chris Farley as Fat Bastard, to be honest with you. I think it would be a funnier portrayal.
Stealing the show is what would happen. You know what I saw Goldmember in theaters, and I thought that was the funniest thing. We couldn't stop laughing in theaters, right? And now I rewatch and I go, this is like, I can't. Some of it's really funny, and then some of it's just like, oh, this is like so dated. very 2000.
When we get to it, I'll give you one word why that movie's not as good as the rest. I'll give one word.
All right.
When we get to it.
I just want to say one more thing about Austin Powers 2, and then let's go into the third one. So, as I said in the first one, I thought that movie had a message, right? Capitalism is the real enemy, not your 60s arch villains, right? And what happens in this movie is so much product placement. Get your hands off my hiney, baby. My time machine's a BMW. Oh, behave and ride Virgin Airlines. And it's like, this movie sold out so bad that, in my opinion, I lost so much respect for Mike Myers after that, how badly he sold out in this movie.
He did it for Wayne's World, but he did it on purpose in Wayne's World.
Yeah, but it's funny in Wayne's World.
That was the joke in Wayne's World, though. Like, this first movie sets up an anti-capitalist like sort of theme, and it follows it up with "Time for a cash grab, baby." Yeah.
And the third one's even worse for the cash.
Yeah.
And so that'll bring us into the third one. Tim, why don't you talk about the third one?
Well, I'll tell you one word why this wasn't as good as the other ones. Beyonce. Do not like her at all.
That's the one thing in this shithole.
No, not the one thing.
Okay,
the main thing.
Okay.
The main thing.
Even still, the main thing. I mean,
I can't stand that woman from top to bottom, singing, acting, walking, breathing, living. I can't stand her. So she takes me out of the movie immediately. With her, I mean, I understand she's going for the over-the-top 70s black exploitation type character, but I don't think she pulled it off. I just don't think she pulled it off.
She was so young. She was like 22, 21 at the time. She's like a baby.
I guess.
Maybe younger, like 19. But that's weird.
Maybe she'd be better now, but I don't know. I got two words for her. Jennifer Hudson. Give me a break.
Fair enough.
She won that Oscar.
I can't argue with that.
There was a funny. There has to be stuff that you like about that Golden, because there's so many bits in it.
I'll tell you right now, Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise's Austin Powers was the whole. I think that whole parody opening was phenomenal. That whole thing was great. Danny DeVito. What's her name?
I thought that was Kevin Spacey.
Gwyneth Paltrow. Yeah, Kevin Spacey.
That was pretty brilliant. And it's funny because I forgot about that. And I was watching this one. I was
Spielberg.
Like, this is opening like a Mission Impossible movie, and I was about to ding it because I'm like, are we forgetting what we're parodying? And then it was actually Tom Cruise. And I was like, oh no, that's I forgot about that. That's real funny, actually. Yeah. But I got to tell you, that's it. That's the one and only laugh I got in this movie. Was that beginning opening?
Because there's too much stuff, but the two bits I remember I think that are still funny in my mind if it's on TV and I watch it is the joke when he is a young guy or when he goes to get knighted and at the knighting ceremony he's like, yeah, there's one person I want to thank, my dad. Stand up, dad, take a bow. And his dad's nowhere. Everyone laughs at him, and it cuts to this old janitor also kind of laughing at him. And then he has the flashback when he's a kid and he's also getting an award, and he's like, yeah, dad, stand up, take a bow. Dad's not there. Everyone laughs, and the old man from the future is in this like past flashback laughing at him. That's funny. And then I love it. There's a stupid scene with Beyonce and or Austin Powers is going to go talk to her, and what's his name sits down. Who is
Nathan Lane?
Nathan Lane.
Yes,
he's like glammed up in like 70s, and he like starts to do like he's like, I'm using this cat as a distraction. And I don't know why they did it. It's just really funny to me.
And I'm going to give this movie some credit because that scene ends with Nathan Lane kissing Austin Powers, and the punchline isn't a gay panic joke about ew. It's just kind of Austin Powers going, "The fuck just happened?"
Going woo. That was a good
and I appreciated that.
Yeah, that's really good.
That was a good part. I like that part.
So you don't like Austin? You don't like Goldmember?
You don't
like eating the skin?
You don't like Goldmember?
I hate Goldmember.
Really?
I think Goldmember should be called Mike Myers masturbating to his own idea of how funny he is, because there's nothing funny. Like, what does he do? I like gold. Oh, you and your father? Oh, I'm from Belgium. Isn't that? We're from the Netherlands. Isn't that weird? I eat my own skin. Like, the fuck's his deal, man? Nothing about that is funny to me. Like, what that looked like was That was Mike Myers going, "Oh, you wouldn't let me put this character on SNL, but I'm so much funnier than everyone. Look, I'm going to put it in my movie, and I'm going to play every single obnoxious character in this movie as obnoxiously as I am in real life." And that is how I fucking hate the character of Goldmember.
Do you like it when John Travolta plays him in the movie version?
I didn't get that far in my rewatch.
I think it's John Travolta at the end. They turn around and it's him doing. I think that's amazing. Him doing the impression of.
That's funny, but if you're asking me, would I endure an hour of "I like gold" for that punchline? No, it's not worth it.
No.
And why it pisses me off is because they had a great opportunity here. You're parodying Goldfinger. Okay, it's Goldmember. He smelts people's penises. I'm actually in on that. I think that's a really fun parody version of Goldfinger, right? Why is he just this insane nothing? Like, why isn't he a presence in this movie? Why is it they put Dr. Evil in prison and he becomes you get Hannibal Lecter, which that's kind of hit or miss. Some of that scene between them is fun, the Hannibal Lecter stuff. But why doesn't Goldmember, played by someone who's not masturbatory Mike Myers, become the villain of this and do but he doesn't. He's just a two-note shtick.
It's a Mike Myers show.
The jail scene, the best line is quid pro ro, Mr. Powers. Yes, squid pro ro.
Yeah, right. I used to say that all the time too. Yes.
Yeah, because for a long time I didn't know what that meant either. So when I heard it, I would go, "Yes, squid pro ro to you too." I don't know. That's a great line.
That's funny. I will give you that. And then they're all college roommates together. What the fucking shit is that, guys? Dr. Evil and Austin Powers were college roommates, and they're really brothers. Again, this Spectre stole from this garbage.
Spectre really did steal.
I don't like the brother thing either.
We're missing the point that James Bond ripped off on Austin Powers movie. You're totally right. You're absolutely right. I believe that conspiracy.
Look, hey, tell me, you tell me it's a false flag. All right, I'm going to plant a false flag about James Bond and Austin Powers right here. But yeah, I don't know. It just so much about this movie pisses me off that I'm not going to say there's no fun to be had in it. I just can't have it because I'm so pissed off about so much of this movie. Because again, I came at this. I love that first one. I have mixed feelings about the second one. I can't possibly condone the nonsense in this movie, even with Sir Michael Caine doing possibly his best paycheck performance
before the Michael Caine resurgence, the Renaissance.
Yes, before the Caine-assance.
The Caine-assance.
I like when they speak English too. I'm not even going to try to quote one of those lines, but when they speak English, that's so great.
The how's your head and how's your father?
Well, should we a pork pie? She's 6 and 7. You say 6 and 7, sir? I think it's so funny. That is good. And Michael Caine is great in everything he does.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like Fook me and Fook you?
That was the stupidest shit I've ever seen. It was fucking terribly racist. Look, I don't like to pull this card, but you watch these movies and so few people of color, and when we get people of color, it's an Asian joke. It's the same thing in the second one. We get one person of color, it's an Asian person, and it's that actually very effective joke of what the hell is that? That looks like a giant.
Yeah, right. Pay attention. Yeah.
Yes, and it's maybe that would have been funny if you had other people who were in this movie doing things, but they didn't. But it's the "Fook me, Fook you" thing. It's what are you doing? And again, what do they bring him? Oh, we got your hiney, baby. It's more product placement, baby.
The only one thing is kind of not beloved to me, but I had friends, girlfriends in college who would always, my twin sister would come into town, or we'd be hanging out. And then my friend would always go, "Twins, Basil, twins." It'd be I was everybody was twins, Basil.
And I like the updated Dr. Evil, Scotty, and Mini Me joke with the with the it's a chocolat, like that whole thing.
Yeah,
It's got a Nepal.
Yeah, it's got a Nepal. I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. I think that was the part where I was laughing the most, and that's in the first 10 minutes. So I think the first 15 minutes are great because it's the Tom Cruise parody into that scene when he gets released, and then after that, yeah, kind of like whatever. Has a few jokes here and there, but.
Yeah, I agree. That chocolate scene, like, because it also good, like, it goes into, that's when Scott first comes. I lose track actually in these movies, but they're still in the present, and Scott's like, you always favor him, and he's like, well, he likes chocolate. Scotty doesn't. I like chocolate.
Yeah, I like chocolate just fine.
And then it just becomes so stupid, and I do like. That's the thing. I don't hate Dr. Evil in this. I just don't think he's as good as in the first one. Like, I do like stupid, petty, I'm being an idiot Dr. Evil. But, like, in the second one, I thought it was a bit too far when it's like, talk to the hand because the face don't want to hear. Like, I think they pushed it a bit too far. But I agree with you. First 15 minutes of this movie, absolutely enjoyable. It goes off the rails after that. All right. Anything else to wrap up, Austin Powers wise or Roger Moore wise?
I'm sure tomorrow I'll wake up and think of like 3 more jokes that I liked, and I'll be pissed off about it. But I still I can sit through the third one. I can, but not really like. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh my god, this is this holds up perfectly. It doesn't. But like I said, the first 15 minutes, and there's a few jokes here and there that I still really like. One I haven't seen in a while, but two I really like. I'm a big Dr. Evil in Part 2 guy, so I think, like I said, I think that's his movie. That's where he shines. Right.
He does have a lot of good moments in that.
Yeah,
excellent. So 2, 1, 3. That's your ranking.
Ooh.
Yeah, my ranking 2, 1, 3.
All right, Ginny.
I think I do love 2. That's a good summer movie. I should probably rewatch. They're all good summer movies. I feel like I want to watch them in the summer, like have a beer. But so I go first, second, and third. I think the third one is like I can't do it. It's so long and like crazy. So
funny thing, because I looked at this, they're all literally the same length within 5
real?
minutes. Yeah.
The third one
it's just the third one. Third one is so bad it feels so long after that first 15 minutes. Yeah, I don't think it's any shock for me. I go for 1, 2, 3. Like I love the first one. I literally think that speech that he gives is one of the funniest things. It's the funniest thing Mike Myers has done, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think that like the fact that in the first one he is Lorne Michaels, like that was the gag. Yeah. I think that's real fun. I do like certain aspects of 2 because you're right, it's Dr. Evil's movie. Even the stuff that I don't necessarily love about the changes in his character, I do love just the pettiness. I love seeing him on Jerry Springer. There's a lot of fun to be had in the second one. Third one, again, I couldn't get through it, man. That's like if I wanted to watch Mike Myers masturbate, I'd go to the dark web. That's all I'm saying.
Ew.
Well, you might be a cunning linguist, but I'm a master debater, baby.
Ah, yeah, baby. You get it, baby. Yeah. Also, that first Austin Powers movie, a flawless soundtrack. I love that.
Yeah, soundtrack. Yeah. I like the second soundtrack too. I love Madonna. You got Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah, I like the second one a lot too. Third one, I'm not really familiar with, but that first one is like, because the second one, again, it's a bit more commercial. You got Madonna, you got Lenny Kravitz, good stuff. But that first one is packed with weird stuff. What
does the third one have?
Beyonce.
Yeah, I know. So Tim, you own what? 7 copies?
I'll support.
Listen, I have no problem with anyone liking Beyonce, but I don't understand the worship.
You just appreciate Michelle Williams as the superior Destiny's Child member.
That's true.
I understand it.
No, I just don't understand the worship. Like I understand. Oh, she's a good artist. Oh, she's fine, but the worship baffles me.
I'm a Rihanna fan. You can be both, but I prefer Rihanna.
I like that. Excellent. All right. Don't worship Beyonce. We've learned that. All right, and then we're gonna end this in 3 parts. In part 3, they're setting up Seth Green to be the evil in 4. I agree with that. I kind of actually wouldn't mind seeing that. But I'm gonna before I get to the plugs, I had a crazy idea I wanted to share with you guys. Right, when they eventually reboot this movie, and they will, because we reboot everything. Right, we rebooted Ghostbusters, which was a movie that was one great movie. and like a crappy second movie and a bunch of cartoons, and that then, and we rebooted that into something we all love. So it's going to happen with Austin Powers. Hear me out here. You have Chris Hemsworth play Austin Powers, because I think the problem with Austin Powers in my rewatch here is that I cannot possibly understand why anyone would want to have sex with him. Like, he's not.
But that's the joke, though. The joke is that it's a British.
It's
almost like an anti-British thing.
It's a joke in the first one.
Like, someone has to have sex with British men because they're obviously reproducing.
they all look like that.
Yeah, I think
and he's the sexiest of all of the British men.
I think that's supposed to be the joke.
Okay, all right, but I just think like with how, especially when you get into the sequels, how like everyone just falling at his feet, and even Miss Kensington is like,
I know.
I'm saying stupid things, and I'm very obviously in love with your mother, and I never got to have sex with, which is why I'm attracted to you. Like I just, even that, it's like he's being dumb, and she's like, "Oh, Austin, I'm reprimanding you." Oh, but he's so cute.
I know.
It's like he's kind of like, it's not even about the way he looks. Like, I also don't think he's charming. I think he's quite obnoxious. And I think if the joke is you can be super good looking, but you're obnoxious, and the joke is like your 60s persona of this like outdated way you view the world, that is what's making you unattractive. And that because they are kind of getting it there, and he does have moments of growth in this movie. But I also think he's so in love with his own comedy that he can't let that stick and become a character thing. Mm-hmm. And so I think if you put someone like Chris Hemsworth, who's really good looking and very funny in this, it would be way more resonant. But you could not replace him as Dr. Evil. That's the caveat.
You know why else it's a parody also? Because it's also making fun of the fact that all you need to do is be famous. I mean, if you look at some of these British bands...
Good point.
I'm sorry, Mick Jagger's not an attractive person. I don't care. Even in his 20s, I don't give a shit. The dude's ugly. Keith Richards is disgusting. Yet they've had thousands of women. I think that's just what the whole parody thing is.
Okay.
Just be famous. Just be famous.
Fair enough. And I would accept that. But again, I still push Chris Hemsworth in that role. I ship that. But all right, so that'll bring us to the end. I really just was waiting the whole time to get that idea.
I gotta pitch my idea.
But how would you like see that? Jared mentioned, Scott was being set up to be Dr. Evil, but see, I think if they should make a fourth one, I think they should completely forget the end of 3, but make it a joke as the movie. Like, hey, wait a minute, didn't you turn good? What? Aren't you guys brothers? No. Like, make it a running joke. Make it a joke throughout the movie. Like, didn't this happen? No, that never happened. What are you talking about? I think that'd be even funnier.
I agree if you did that. Absolutely. Like, walk back what you did, make it like gaslight the audience, right? And that's the joke is, no, we all know what happened, Mr. Powers. I was there. I stabbed you in the back. How could we be brothers? That would be stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree. And to be honest, with as much shit as I talked about 2 and 3, I'll see 4 if it comes out. Like,
yeah,
who am I lying? Who am I kidding? Like, and I don't even like Mike Myers anymore. He lost all goodwill with me from the Love Guru. Every ounce of it was lost between Goldmember and Love Guru. Like, between those 2 movies, I have no goodwill for that.
And he wants to win back. He wants to win back your love.
But if he wants to win back my love, give me a good Austin Powers 4. All right. All right. So thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate that. Tim, thanks for popping on. Ginny, as always, pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
If you are enjoying the show, please. Oh, wait, let me get to my my thing is, without Ed, I'm kind of useless when it comes to doing a lot of this, like this tech stuff. So my shtick is I just talk about how bad I am doing it while I set it up. So if you like the show, but you're catching us on one of the other pages, or you're catching us off Facebook, please come on, join the popculturepros.com, join the 00 Deep Dive group on Facebook. There's always a lot of memes we're sharing, a lot of fun stuff. Just a lot of community stuff we're building for the 007 community here at Pop Culture Pros. Talking too quickly, that happens sometimes. If you've been listening and for some reason you don't like James Bond, but you just like the tone of my voice, then please check out Granny's Peach Tea to get your latest serving of sweet geeky goodness. This week, we're going Wednesday at 8:30. We're back in our regular slot for this week, back in the saddle. We're talking Thor Ragnarok, guys.
Ooh, I might have to pop in.
Oh, pop in, my friend. What? I rewatched Thor Ragnarok this week, and what a treat it was. Guys, it's one of my favorite MCU movies. What a treat. So you, Ginny?
Oh, same. No, same.
Yeah.
I'm excited. We were just talking about Thor: Love and Thunder. I can't wait. That's the next big movie to see.
That is. I'm excited about that. But this week it's Ragnarok. We're going to be talking 2 episodes of The Boys. I believe we got an episode of The Flash. I know we got an episode of Superman Lois that I got to finish. And we got new Ms. Marvel, man. We got Kamala Khan in the flesh in the MCU. We're talking about all of that. And more. I don't know. Ed comes up with stuff. Sometimes I come in. He's like, hey, we're talking about this. I'm like, all right, I'll talk about this. I don't know. I'm just killing time while I look for the next thing I got to plug. I got notes, guys. I got notes. But let's say you like pop culture, but you don't like the sound of my voice, which is fair. And you only want to hear it a little bit sometimes. Tim, what do you do over there at the Sith podcast?
We talk everything Star Wars 24/7. Join me in the galaxy far, far away. We just got done doing the Obi-Wan review, which was fantastic. I don't know when we're going to come back with that though. I'm trying to get on. I'm trying to focus the show more on like the cosplayers and the tattooers and all that stuff. The freaks. The fellow freaks who like the Star Wars world. I don't want to just do, hey, let's talk about Return of the Jedi for the 17,000th time. So I'm trying to get some people on. Hopefully I have some guests coming up. We're definitely not going to be on this week, but I did just do all 6 episodes of Obi-Wan with some great guests. Go back and watch those because they were pretty fun.
Nice. I'm waiting because I do this thing. Unless I do it for the podcast, I wait till everything drops. I play the game of avoiding spoilers. It's kind of part of the fun for me.
Oh, good for you.
And I have gotten this far, and I have no idea what happens on that Obi-Wan show. And now that it's done, I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to listen to your podcast. Yeah.
I cried at that. I might have had a few drinks, but I did cry. I was just very emotional, and it was very good.
I on this show, we were talking about that and other things that went on. I'm not going to say nothing, Jason, but I actually got the goosebumps, and I showed it right on the camera that my hair was sticking straight up because I was just talking about those scenes. And yeah, it was great.
All right, beautiful. I took my helmet off because I put spoilers, my friends. But I'm glad that Obi-Wan has been delivering. And if anyone has finished Obi-Wan, hasn't gone back and listened to Tim shooting the Sith, we've got backlogs where hey, don't just support the show by listening to the fresh stuff. Listen to the old stuff too. The old stuff needs love. Come on,
classics.
The classics need love, Scott. Come on. Love your daddy. Don't look at me like I'm freaking Frankenstein. Give your father a hug. Duck. Sorry, I've been waiting all the time to do that. Anyway, but let's say you're not into like the pop culture stuff, but you're into the sports. Well, we got plenty of stuff here. We got Empire 161 with Q Branch, Ed himself, and Lisa. Giving us everything Yankee baseball. So much Yankee baseball everywhere. In the greens, out of the greens, is it clear? I don't know what I'm talking about because I don't know anything about baseball. but I know if you're a big fan of the Yankees, I know they cover literally all of the games. I don't even know how he does it. But let's say you don't like the Yankees. Let's say I know you're a Met fan. And from what I understand, Tim, you can back me up on this. Mets fans and Yankee fans hate each other. They go to war. They battle every now and then to the death.
I don't know. I can argue that. Mets fans hate the Yankees. The Yankees just don't give a shit about the Mets. It's a big difference. It's a big difference.
Wow, and if you want the other side of that coin, you got to go to Put It in the Books, where Boss Man Faraci tells us what's what about Mets baseball.
Our flagship show. They're pushing 200 episodes, man.
Are they really?
They were the first show. They've been around a long time. So yeah, they know what they're talking about.
That's amazing. And yeah, so whatever you like, that's the beauty of here. If you like the pinstripes, if you like Queens, whatever you like, it's there, right? I don't know if you want Dallas baseball, I can't help you, but New York baseball, we're here for you. But all right, but maybe you don't like any of that. Maybe you're a big Disney fan. Maybe you want to listen about Disney, talk about Disney. Skyline reviews, they're here. I know I've heard some great things about Ashley and her show. I know Ginny, you've watched it. I know of I've actually, like, if I had time, I literally watch like 7 to 8 hours of content for my 2 podcasts. I have almost no time to do anything outside of it except for get drunk and play Skyrim, which I have to do both on a regular basis. But if you're a big Disney fan, check it out. She covers movies, she covers the parks, she covers lore, she covers like a lot of Disney stuff that I would not have thought would be covered on a podcast. I wouldn't have dawned on me. So if you're into Disney, tune in. It's great stuff. But possibly you like none of that. Possibly you want everything and nothing at all. You want comedy and drama, tragedy, all of that stuff. Then you want the A to Z show with Eric, co-host with our good friend of the show, Tim here, where you get everything from Admiral Kirk to Zephyrin Cochrane.
Who's Admiral?
I like that one.
Who's that? I don't know who they are.
I like that one.
Don't know who Admiral Kirk is?
From what? It's not Star
from Star Wars, Star Trek. Admiral
it is Star Wars. He's an admiral.
He is at the last. He's a captain of the show. He's an admiral in the movies. Admiral, I'm going to hurt you and keep on hurting you.
In Star Trek?
Yes. Yeah. And Zephyrin Cochrane is the person who invented warp speed. Warp speed.
Yep.
Ginny, I've been trying to impress you this whole time, and I give the best one I have, and you don't even understand the references.
There are like 2 people in the world. You're either Star Trek, The Next Generation, or you're original Next Generation.
Well, he was only Admiral in 2, 3, and most of 4.
What's the one with the whales?
4.
He's also Admiral in Generations.
Okay, I should know that.
Where he dies. He dies in Admiral, yes, in Generations he is.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
Sorry, guys.
I was very excited about that one, and now I'm like, I should have saved that for Ed. Ed would have laughed at that.
He would have.
But it's okay. All right, you know what? You're just making me work harder, Ginny, and that's fine. All right, so that leaves us with the end of our show. Thank you guys for joining us. Join us next week where we're diving in to the original OG Sean Connery James Bond. We're gonna start out with I'm blanking on it. Dr. No. It's one of my favorites. Why am I blanking on it? We're going to start with Dr. No, the first James Bond movie ever. We're going to work our way through. We're almost done with this deep dive. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a great night.
Yes. Night.
Just your sweet tomorrow night, 2:00.